hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas, an advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father, I have black sons. Hey man, I do what I do.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the broadcast. Big shout out to my man Mark Freelance, also Sleepy PYG 2011. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate you all. We are back again to discuss another hot topic that's got the internet in an uproar that is helping change the future of the culture. And as you see, the title is Black Immigrant Identity Theft of Black American Success. Look here, man, this conversation, well, let me first thank everybody for being here. I always want to be polite. Please, as we march towards the 100,000 mark, I want you all to be mindful to subscribe to the channel if you'll be so kind as to do so. In addition to that, at some point you'll like, or you might dislike, but either way, there's a like in that. And I'd appreciate if you guys would hit the channel, if for nothing else, so you can know when it's time to come back and think mean thoughts about Uncle D. Now, for everybody else, if you happen to learn something, if you learn something, then I certainly would appreciate if I could earn something. Okay, so, but again, I'm not begging you all for anything. However, I do spend an inordinate amount of time. And really, when you learn something, it just lets me know, wow, this person was really motivated. I think we had a great broadcast last night. I think the broadcast last night, I think it opened some eyes about what's really going on in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And I just think that's real cool. Now, the crazy thing is, I focus heavy on conflict. That's what my books were about, conflict. And so, and if you guys who've read my books, Rules to Live By, How to Maintain Peace of Mind in a conflicted world, those are some of the things that I study. Now, at some point, I'm going to hit a real tough topic, and I hope I can really help you guys figure out what's going on in between Palestine and Israel. And that is something I've written about it in my books exclusively. It just seems I just find it from an academic standpoint, a very interesting conflict to address. But nevertheless, right now, the conflict exists between Black immigrants and Black Americans on the American scene and the Black culture. And this conversation is not about hate. I just want to let you all know that. It's about truth. It's about lineage and ownership. And Africans and other immigrants need to stop claiming Black American success. Okay? That's what you need, claiming Black American success. Now, give me a quick second here. And I say that because, the thing is, matter of fact, it's not just Black American success. Stop claiming Black genius, okay? Stop claiming Black culture, all right? You all always talk about colonizers. You guys are trying to colonize Black American culture, and we're still here. And we see you. Somebody type, we see you in the chat room. We see you. And somebody said, shout out to Baby D. Yeah, shout out to Baby D. Y'all like Baby D? Yeah, man. But anyway, you can't move into a country and then immigrate into an ethnic group. And you definitely can't steal people's identity and then get mad when they start drawing a line and say, hey, no, we're going to delineate. That's what drawing the line is. But here's the thing. Before we go any further, I probably need to explain what people mean when they talk about nationality and ethnicity and race and culture, because these things are related, but they're not identical. They're not synonymous. So nationality is about the country you legally belong to, the place where you are a citizen and have rights and responsibilities. For instance, if you're a Mexican, you're a Mexican national. If you're a Russian, you're a Russian national. If you're a Japanese, you're a Japanese national. And therefore, if you're an American, you're an American. If you're from the United States of America, you're a U.S. national. If you're from Ghana, you're a Ghanaian national. Okay. For example, if your passport says American, that's your nationality. Ethnicity refers to a shared cultural identity and the things a group of people have in common, like language, history, religion, traditions, and customs. Okay. Ethnicity is about who your people are and what your people do, and not just where they live. You could have immigrated here from the Congo and not be a foundational Black American ethnically. It's a different group. Now, race is a social category, and that is often based on your physical characteristics like skin color or hair texture. Race doesn't come from science or biology. It's a system that societies use to group people. So, for instance, you can have 100% African DNA, right, and look like an Indian, or you can be an Indian and look like an African. So, what is your race? Well, it's based on your physical characteristics, skin color, or hair texture. Okay, because those are two different things. Now, culture, and we're going to talk about culture tonight. Culture is a shared way of life. For instance, the group of people passed down from one generation to the next, things that they believe in, how they speak, what they eat, how they celebrate. But it's not just limited to music and those and what you wear. Culture solves problems, all right? And I want y'all to keep that in mind also. Now, Africans and Caribbeans, you can't be Black American because, or let me be specific, you can't be foundational Black American because, well, they don't have the required combination of lineage, history, culture, and national formation. So being an FBA is not about skin color. I'm light skinned compared to most Africans, but I'm foundational Black American. It's not about being Black. It's not about being phenotypically identical to a sub-Saharan African. I have Black people who've been in this country for 500 years, and they are lighter than me, but they're no less Black American, okay? See, it's about being a people that was formed here under very specific conditions over hundreds of years, over centuries, okay? And you can't arrive later and then retroactively claim that formation. Foundational Black Americans were created through slavery in North America, followed by Jim Crow, segregation, and life under an American racial caste system. Africans and Caribbeans didn't experience that system in the same way or for the same length of time. And many came to the United States voluntarily with intact nationalities, identities, languages, and cultures. And that difference matters. Shared race does not equal shared peoplehood. You understand that? Did that make sense? Let me say it again. Just because we share a race doesn't mean we're the same people. And I don't care what the Pan-African's saying, and I'm going to talk to the Pan-Africanists tonight too. All you people who are talking bad about Black Americans who are shout out to official Zay Story. All you folk who are talking bad about foundation, all the Black Americans, all the foundational Black Americans who are angry about the term foundational Black American. Well, be absolutely certain that there was a lot of black people who were mad when we went from colored to black. And there was a lot of black people who were mad when we went from black to African American. So go ahead and be mad, but it's not going to change anything. It's at this point part of the culture. It's in the ethos. But here's the thing: to be a foundational Black American, you need a specific combination. You need enslavement in North America, not elsewhere. You need a continuance present in the United States for centuries. You need cultural development under U.S. laws, customs, and racial system, and a people formed without a foreign homeland to return to, because that's where the culture is made, in the crock pot, under pressure. Africans and Caribbeans, they may share African ancestry, but that does not mean that a foundational Black American. Many of the FBAs who are listening here to this broadcast right now, you have Irish ancestor. Does that make you Irish? do you think you can go over to Ireland and say you're Irish? Up to the top of the morning until your wee loss. You think that'll work? You're gonna be a Black Irish? Because your great 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 granddaddy was an Irishman and your last name is McIntosh or McFay. You're not Irish. And just like you're not African, you're foundational Black American. Okay? Let's be clear about that. But without it, the identity doesn't, again, so, without that African identity, it doesn't apply. Okay? You can't import yourself into a lineage that's already formed. Now, here's the other thing. Foundational Black Americans, again, we're not Africans because of our nationality in America. And first of all, Africa is a continent. Africa is a continent. There's 54 countries in Africa, all right? But bottom line is we're North American. If you want to say, no, I'm African, well, technically I'm North American, all right? And as far as the nation in North America, of which there are three, more or less, you have Canada, the United States, and Mexican, all of which are North American. We are nationality, we are Americans. We're citizens of the United States by blood, by history, and by birthright. It's so written by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Africa is not our nation. We don't hold African citizenship. I know some of you all do. We don't hold African citizenship to any of those countries. We don't live under African governments, and we don't practice African national cultures. Culturally, we are over 500 years removed from Africa. Our culture was not preserved intact. It was destroyed, it was rebuilt, it was reshaped under extreme conditions, and it intersected with other cultures. Culture changes. It doesn't remain the same if the people want to remain the same. Remember, culture solves problems. And the problems that were solved in Africa were a different set of problems that the culture needed to solve here in America. Okay? Nevertheless, over time, Black Americans' culture absorbed influences from Native American, European, and we developed a lot on our own. We lived alongside those people. But again, that does not make us less Black. It makes us distinct. Foundational Black Americans are of mixed heritage, which is something that, because we oftentimes talk about who's Blacker. That's something we talk about. But for the most part, we're all mixed heritage, and that's not theory. It's fact. Between slavery and the sexual violence and promiscuity and forced integration, it produced a population with African, European, sometimes Native American, sometimes Asian culture. And that mixture is not weakness. It's a reality. And it's documented. Okay? You understand? And it separates us from groups who arrive later with intact ethnic identities. And this mixed heritage is one of the reasons we developed a new culture. Shout out to Urban Eagle. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Again, it's the reason we have a new culture instead of maintaining that old one. Our culture is an American-born culture. Our traditions, our languages, our pattern, our humor, our music, our social codes, it didn't come from Africa. They came from survival in America. So, because, Africans, here's the thing. Claiming FBA culture or Black American culture without that history is identity theft. You see, because Africans and Caribbeans, they don't share this full history, and they can't claim to be Black American. They can't claim to they can't claim to be foundational Black American. And doing this is not unity. It's really identity theft. It erases the unique experience that created Black Americans, and it replaces it with a vague global flat blackness label. And that benefits everyone except us. And we reject that. You see, foundational Black Americans are a people, not a race. Okay, we're not a vibe. We're not a costume for you to put on and cosplay. And not an identity anyone can move into. We are not open. We are closed. Now, again, you know, we're distinct people. And when we say foundational Black Americans, we're talking about descendants of enslaved Africans whose people were created here through slavery in North America. In terms of other terms that we've used, which are synonymous or interchangeable, the American Negro. Okay, it denotes the same thing for all you folk out there who are hating on the term FBA. We can be American Negroes if you want to. Y'all want to be Negroes? It's a little too close to the N-word. Another term is freedmen. We were colored for a long time. FBA is a new one. And the other one that I like, Solon. Somebody type Solon in the chat room. Spell S-O-U-L-A-A-N, sometimes spell S-O-L-A-N. And that describes the people in the lineage also. This is a people with continuous presence here long before mass integration, long before the 1950s. We didn't come here later. We didn't arrive voluntarily. Our ancestors were brought here by force and built this nation with their ingenuity and their effort and their minds and their sweat. Now, I find that term interesting, the Solon term, the Solon people, okay? It's just another name for Black Americans used to describe ourselves. And it means that we are a people formed here in this country, not just a race or a skin color, but shared history, struggle, culture, and a continuous presence on this land. Okay, it is not an African identity or a global identity. It is an American identity. And yes, it is powerful, which is exactly why you already have people, you already have African influences and clowns trying to appropriate that name. I mean, think about that. We just got this name. As soon as you have some African content creators saying, as soon as they step foot on the United States, they are immediately Solon. They want to own the word so they can pretend they are part of something they have not earned, and that's just pathetic. But the fact that they try, it shows the power of the identity they wish they had. Look. When our ancestors were brought here, the entire North American continent, from the swamps of the deep south to the frozen riverbeds of the mid-Atlantic, was wilderness to European settlers. It was a dangerous land full of unknowns, and the European settlers could not survive it without us. They couldn't handle the hostile terrain, the diseases, the heat, the cold, the insects, or the seasons on their own. We provided the muscle, the skill, and the ingenuity that turned survival into settlement and settlement into civilizations. Our labor and unpaid labor for over 250 years produced the commodities and infrastructure and wealth that made this nation economically powerful. So the next time one of these white nationalists gets on the internet and says something like Black people we would still be living in huts if they hadn't stolen or bought us from those African warlords and chiefs, you say, no, if we hadn't come, what would America have looked like if we hadn't come over here and tamed it? It would be a wilderness, and it would be unlivable for you. So you make sure you tell them, if we hadn't come over here, you all would still be living in teepees and log cabins. That's what you tell them, and we would be just fine. Now, you think about, I want you to think, Black Americans, you need to understand something. If you all don't think we're foundational to this country, consider that the American West, and the historians estimate that as many as 1 in 4 of the cowboys were Black during the cattle drive era after that Civil War. And that's up to 20 to 25% of the cowboys on the trail. Okay? And these were not side figures. These were essential workers, roping, branding, riding, taming, the frontier right alongside. Matter of fact, they'll tell you in the old Southwest, the first people to settle in from the old world were Black Spaniard conquistadors that came over with the Spanish conquest. So it was Black people in the Southwest before the first white Northern Europeans got there. You understand me? Nevertheless, you had another group of brokes come in. You had another group of Black people come in as cowboys. And see, here's the thing you got to understand. You didn't call white men boy back in that time. They were called cattle hands, okay? They were called cattle men. You see, they were called cow hands. Black men were referred to boys, and a cowboy is the equivalent of a cow hand, okay? So here's what you need to understand. We've been part and parcel of this country since its founding. And that's what you all need to understand. And that's what we're talking about. While Black labor built the economic foundation of the nation, it was Black bodies that bled also on the battlefields. Like this gentleman, Doug, right here, who says that I'm an ignorant racist. His family probably just got here in probably 1910, 1920 through Ellis Island. So he's less of American than most of us foundational Black Americans. I can trace my lineage back to the 1700s. He probably can't trace his back past the last century. And see, one of the worst things we did was let all these immigrants over here, like Doug right here. Because see, Black Americans and real white Americans, heritage white Americans, we have an understanding. We belong. Foundational Black Americans are heritage Americans. And we don't necessarily get along all the time, but we have an understanding. Somebody type understanding. You see? And so when you bring that old world racism to our country, people like Doug, Mark, -M4L, there's plenty of them like him. They accuse you of being a racist because deep down what you say makes them uncomfortable because they're racist. They're feeling their inadequacies. You're less of American than me, Doug. You just got here. You can go back to Ireland, Italy, Scotland, wherever you came from, and you can leave us alone. We'll be fine over here. Now, that being the case, again, from the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, Black soldiers, Black men and women participated. When we talk about Harriet Tubman in the Civil War, or the 561st in World War II that made sure the boys got their mail on time. We always participated in these wars, and we helped maintain this country's freedom while all these other folks was running and hiding and ducking and dodging. Black men fought so that they can fight for this country to prove their worth. That's who we are. All the way up through the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, every conflict, both foreign and domestic, Black men have spilled blood on the front lines. We bled, we died for this country. And that's often the same country that denied us full citizenship. But we defended its existence anyway because we believed in America. Without Black soldiers, this nation would have bled out on many a Black battlefield. George Washington had Black soldiers with him. Hell, General Cornwallis had Black soldiers with him. We fought on both sides. After slavery ended, Jim Crow tried to keep us in our place. And we had no land, no voting rights, no defense, and no power, yet we fought through it economically, culturally, politically, and intellectually. Our music, our language, our ideas, our spiritual traditions, and our communities changed the face of this nation. And all of it was created 500 years removed from Africa, infused with European, Native American, and it created a uniquely American influence. And our culture is not African culture preserved. It is not a watered down version of African culture. It's an American culture made from struggle, made from survival, made from resistance, made from reinvention. And that's what makes us distinct from Africans. And that's what makes us a people. Look, you can't claim what you didn't build, okay? So no, Africans and Caribbean people, you don't stop trying to claim our things. Stop claiming our music. It was a bunch of people on the internet the other day, a bunch of African immigrants on a podcast saying that rap was basically, they invented rap music. I mean, think about that. This is how I thought, well, it's just rap. It's just hip hop. But where's your rap artist then that came up back in the 1980s? I mean, next thing you'll be claiming the blues and jazz and all these other great things. You understand? You don't share the blood history. You don't share the continuous presence, the unbroken lineage and the culture. Shout out to cultural superpower. You don't share you don't share that. Through the extraordinary hardship and extraordinary resilience. They may come here, they may succeed here, but they didn't build this nation from nothing. They didn't survive over 250 years of forced labor. They didn't fight every major war this country engaged in. We fought in all of them. And they didn't build the West. They didn't create the culture. And they do not have the rooted history that makes foundational Black America what it is. FBA is an identity, not something you import. It's not something you cosplay. It's something you live, inherit, and defend. And anyone trying to steal that name as soon as they arrive is only proving how powerful it really is. Now, I'm going to take the opportunity to let you all see a few videos so that you can kind of see what people are saying right now, so you can begin to prepare yourself and your children and your other family members for this identity theft that these folk are attempting. And I'm going to do my very best to give you all the talking points you need to push back. Now, in the meantime, you guys make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. Okay. It takes no money to subscribe to the channel. Now, first thing we need to understand is this: Africans have always looked up.
So this video, guys, I'm gonna be keeping it real with you. Of course, you all know that I keep it real here. Yes, come on, listen. My dear Africans, you know that you have always looked up to Black Americans. Of course, it has always been like that in history. And here is why I'm saying that. Look at our Nollywood movies. Guys, if you haven't been really into our Nollywood movies, go and watch our movies. Go and watch Nigerian movies. You know why I'm saying this? A lot of our celebrities, especially the female, they want to copy American style. They want to copy American way of talking. Like, you know, so they kind of see Black Americans like a role model. I know a lot of
do y'all understand what this young lady is saying? I mean, go ahead. We do the best.
You are here on social media. You want to package. You want to talk down on Black Americans for what reason? Just because you feel like what? Like seriously. Okay.
She definitely copying the bonnet. I don't know what else she talked about. I think she said something about the actors and actresses try to copy Americans, I believe. But the bonnet is being copied. The bonnet has gone international. Let's keep going.
You feel and you think that you are better. Why will you be in Nigeria? Okay, inside Nollywood movies, right? You are in Nollywood.
She's a pretty lady though. She's very pretty lady. Nice, smooth skin. You're a pretty lady, but that bonnet is throwing everybody off. Okay, I'm gonna let you keep going.
Movies. You are an actor, actress. but yet you are copying the American way of speaking, of speaking English language. We have our way of speaking our English. We have our accents. You live in Nigeria, speak like a Nigerian, especially those English countries in Africa. They look up to Black Americans. You guys have always seen Black Americans like you know what I mean, like your big sister, like your big brother.
Big sister.
Come on,
like your big sister. All right, baby, let's get somebody else in. We get what you're trying to say, but you just rambling and rambling and rambling. Let's listen to somebody else.
From West Africa, or you from East Africa, listen up. It's high time you stop calling African Americans Akata. Yes, it's no longer funny that you all have been doing that. It's no longer funny. I never did my research.
It is not funny because they are now calling us tethers, and it is causing us problem. We cannot get in America anymore. We need to stop pissing off the Fed Foundation of Black American niggas. I mean, Black people, whatever they want to be today. Okay, we need to stop calling them names because they are winning, and it is bad for us. Okay, Trump has put all of our leaders out and told us we are from the shithole country. Yeah, that's what's going on. You're getting that pushback. It was all good. We would have kept being conscious. You all were able to get away with it. But yeah, she's beautiful, beautiful woman. Love your afro, baby. At least you didn't have the bonnet. Keep going.
Since I moved to the United States, but I just did my research. I went to ChatGPT. ChatGPT gave me a vivid answer. Now I want you to listen. We've been hurting these people, but in fact, let me focus more on Nigerians.
Baby, y'all calling us Akatas doesn't hurt our feelings. We've been called worse than that. Okay, I want you to be absolutely certain that we have been called worse than Akata here in the great United States of America. It didn't hurt our feelings. It was kind of disappointing, because, we held you all in such high esteem, the motherland and Africa, and it was kind of like, oh man, it was Wakanda before we knew what Wakanda was. We just looked forward to it, but it didn't hurt our feelings. Hurting our feelings is watching our family members get wrongfully incarcerated and put in prison for life. Hurting our feelings is hearing the stories about how our great uncle disappeared, and they just found proof that he had been arrested and taken into one of those work camps for spitting on the sidewalk. Hurting our feelings is finding out that our great grandmother was raped by her slave owner 4 or 5 times, and we have relatives that we don't know and don't know us. That hurts our feelings. You all calling us a kata. First of all, we don't know what that means. I do, because I've looked it up. It means something like a stray cat or something like that. We don't even look. We don't even care. Like, I know Hispanics have derogatory names for Black people. We don't. If it ain't in English, we don't even care. You all are highly irrelevant to the typical American in general, especially Black American. We just see all of you all as foreigners or Africans. Okay, somebody spell African. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
It all started from you people, especially the Yorubas. Yes.
Oh, you trying to shift blame on the Yorubas? She says it's the Yorubas' fault. No, y'all all at fault.
I don't know how you guys will start calling a fellow human being white cat. Akata simply means white cat.
Yeah.
A cat that doesn't like to stay at home.
So that's what that's considered disrespectful, to basically say a cat that doesn't like to stay at home, as though Black Americans don't have a home. We've been here 500 years. Okay, we've been here 500 years. What do you mean we don't have a home? This is a home. We've been in the same place longer than some other people around the world have been in their own countries. I mean, the Jewish people get to call Israel home, and they've only been there since what, 1945, 1946? Right? Well, I mean, I know the replacement. I'm just saying. So what are you talking about? We've been here half a millennium. How much longer do Black Americans have to be in the United States before we can say it's our home? We need to be here 1,000 years? What are you talking about? Let's keep it pushing.
Seriously, you move from Africa to come and be using a derogatory word on your people. These are your long-time cousins. Like, seriously,
Are we
I need you
cousins
guys
now?
to stop calling African.
No, you sold y'all sold my ancestors into slavery for a few dollars. That's what you did. That's what you all did. So our family ties are strained, to say the least. This is worse than going to that family reunion where that uncle is, or that auntie that used to fall out with your mama. Yeah, she said we moved. We moved. That's what she said. She said we moved. I don't know. I think we might have been evicted, but let's keep listening.
American
pretty
people.
though. She pretty. That's why I keep letting her talk. Go on ahead, baby. You pretty. I'm gonna let you talk. If she was hard to look at, I'm like, if she wasn't easy on the eyes, I would have gone ahead and clicked on and got somebody else. Let's go.
It is derogatory. It is disrespectful. It is disrespectful. It is degrading. I really want you guys to understand this and start having peace. This is one of the reasons they don't like you. This is
one of the reasons they don't like you. Okay. Now, name calling is not just it. We don't like you because you're disrespectful, because when you get in positions of authority, you try to exclude us. You all are very rude while we turn around and see you kissing white people's butts. You see, and that's why we don't like you. Okay, because you all have a different culture. You're sycophants. You don't have backbone. You understand? That's why we don't like you. All right. It's not just about you calling names. We call each other names. These people always complain about black people calling Africans African booty scratchers. Hell, black people call other black people African booty scratchers. We talk about your nose, your lips, your face, your forehead, the back of your neck. Black people talk about, have you ever been to a schoolyard in an urban inner city? You will get roasted. Boy, girl, cat, they talk about your mama. Somebody type your mama in the chat room. So these little words you all are sharing don't bother me.
one of the reasons they see you as an enemy. This is the reason they don't trust you. Because how can they really trust you when you call them a white cat? How can they trust you when
Maybe we don't see you as an enemy. We don't even see you. You all are irrelevant to us. That's what I don't think I think Africans overestimate how we perceive them. They're like a novelty. It's like, okay, there's an African. You're not even in it's like when we see white people, it's like they're not even in our world. That's what you need to understand. You guys are largely irrelevant. Now, what we don't like is y'all pop up in spots that we're supposed to have. Okay, like you start filling out all the applications to get in our universities that was set aside for us to have those positions or jobs, because you say black instead of letting them know you're actually an African or somebody like that. That's when the issue comes in. Okay. Now the disrespect is just something else, but again, you all are irrelevant to us. And I don't think they realize that. I think they overvalue their position. You're just irrelevant. But we're dealing with you now because you wanted our attention and now you got it. And what we decided to do, instead of giving you attention and fight with you, we're just delineating. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Y'all do all that over there. We've delineated. They're not us. Go on over there, African people. Y'all got it. Go ahead.
They know you are just faking it up with them. Yes, on my live session the other day, a Kenyan man came. And there was this guy. He was so curious. Although he was a foundational black American, he wanted to know why Africans called them Akata. I was trying to explain. I was like, maybe Akata means someone.
Shout out to Mr. Superman. I appreciate you, brother. I'm going to read all the super chats in the middle. And thank you so much, family. Appreciate you. I'm going to get you in again. Big shout out to Mr. Supreme 32. Good looking out.
From America, it was like, no. But a Kenyan man came to my rescue and said, sister, are you sure you don't really know the meaning? I said, no, I don't know. Teach me, tell me. He then explained to me. But I moved further to do my own personal research, of which I did. I went to ChatGPT, as I've earlier said. After doing that research.
You must have that ChatGPT 5.2, girl, because you are using it. You are using it.
I promised myself that I will come up here with a video. My dear Nigerians, please, 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 I beg you in the name of Osaloboa. I beg you in the name of God to stop calling African Americans Akata. It is humiliating. It is
No,
degrading.
let them keep doing it. Go ahead. Let them keep on calling. We ain't worried about that. We're not worried about them people. Tell them we ain't worried about them people. Let them keep calling it. Go ahead.
It is a derogatory term. It is not good. It's very disrespectful when you do that. You can't come to someone's land and be doing things like that. You like it or not, these people, you are under them. This is their land. There's no way you are going to fight it tomorrow to the next year.
We are not going to fight you all. We're going to ignore you all. We're going to delineate from you all, and we're going to let the white people deal with you like they did. Somebody put the ICE hotline in the chat room. I need someone to put the ICE hotline in the chat room. We're not going to fight you, baby. You all are not worthy of a fight from us. We don't fight like that. We're going to let them white people deal with you. You didn't realize that? See, you are living under our protection right now. As long as they think you black, they're going to kind of leave you alone, right? Because they don't want us to get involved in it, largely because we know how to deal with these folks. We've been dealing with them a long time. But, you know, since you all want to be talking stuff, go ahead. We're going to let them white folk deal with you. Go on out there to them streets. We're going to send you to them streets. That's how that works. We gonna send you go ahead. You so big and bad, huh? That's what my grandmother used to tell my cousin. Y'all want to fight all up in the goddamn house. Fight in the damn house. Go on, fight them N-words in the street. You so bad. You want to be bad, you fight your cousin in the house. Go fight. That's what my grandma used to say. And then then you realize how bad you are. You ain't that bad. You want to fight the people in the street. Somebody say, y'all are so wrong when they tell it. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. No, but we're gonna let her go ahead. You go ahead and keep on calling us these mean names. We're gonna let them people deal with you. Somebody type them people in the chat room. Somebody type them people. We're gonna let them people deal with you. Let's see what this fella has to say. Hit the number one button.
For the 2026 Tether of the Year. From a different country. They in my comments talking about some go back to your country. We don't need your opinions. We don't need your opinions. Our people been fighting forever. No, y'all ain't did shit. My mother was actually part of the first integrated schools in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah.
All right. So just because your mama showed up and she went to the high school in Cleveland, Ohio, that does not mean that, she was here. Okay. She just showed up. That might be a long time to you, but that really wasn't a long time in the big picture thing. And why are you wearing that do-rag on your head, sir? Why are you trying to hide your forehead? Don't hide your forehead, brother. Don't do it. We see you. Somebody type, we see you. We see you.
What the fuck is this? You motherfucker! Can I help you, sir? Yes, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just because your mama helped integrate the guy, she wouldn't have been able to integrate the school had the fight not happened. She came there. That's what we talking about. After the fight was over, now she want to come in and get her a spot that should have been set up for a foundational Black American person whose people actually put skin in the game. Let's keep listening. Hit the number one button. That's exactly.
So I made a video saying to stop talking about diaspora wars because it's just jobless discourse. But I want to talk about this specific talking point because it's very stupid. Like, take
why y'all keep hiding y'all foreheads? Let your forehead be free, brother. I don't want to get too far off track. I actually want to talk about some serious stuff. But look, brother, let your forehead unleash your forehead. Now, why are they hiding their forehead? I've seen bonnets and I've seen do-rags. Why y'all don't hide these foreheads? We know it's you. We see y'all up under there. We see those foreheads up under. We know you. Don't hide them foreheads, man. I'm gonna let you finish playing. Go
white
ahead.
European person or a Mexican person that comes to America and has kids over here. Those kids are not really gonna grow up with the greater, wherever their parents came from, culture, because they are in a new country.
Even if you grow up in America, you're not gonna have a foundational Black American culture because you don't have a foundational Black American legacy. And on top of that, there's a lot more that go. Just sitting in, look, If you sit down on the beach, that does not make you sand. You're still a person. You're still who you are. Okay. So just being here, being present does not mean you absorb the culture. It takes hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay. It's a collective effort. And there's also the ethnic aspect of it.
Country, meaning that they will be socialized to be American. So
yeah, you can be.
When it comes to black people, when it comes to Africans who have parents that are from other countries that came here, me specifically, bro, I have not went to Gambia. I haven't went to Gambia yet. My little brother went with my mom, but I haven't had a chance to go.
Well, I ain't go to Mississippi till I was about 25, but my people are from Mississippi. So what you talking about? Huh? Boy, they are struggling. They trying to figure this out. You're out. You're out, Tom. You're out. You're out of here. You're not gonna make it.
Okay. Go just because of my scheduling. The only thing that makes me Gambian is my ethnicity. So my greater point of
the only thing that makes you Gambian is your ethnicity. What do you think you are? You can be an American, but you're not a foundational Black American. Okay, you're not. I mean, what do you want me to say?
That video that this person replied under is that in America, we are all black. My whole point is we should stop fighting. It's so stupid. Like, we all experience racism here.
Just because you experience racism does not make you a foundational. Asian people experience racism. I mean, white people experience racism. Does that make them foundational Black American? Racism is what we do here in the United States. Now, I want you to see a case of this international tethering. This somebody type international cosplay. Whatever your purpose. Look at this, what they're doing in Africa.
All a nigga really need is a little bit.
You see that? Let me turn this music down. These dudes are walking down the street listening to 50 Cent, lean bopping. Look at this. Look at this. This is what they're doing in Africa. Do you see these dudes? Huh?
Because when do
what y'all doing?
Immigrants decide Black Americans don't have any culture? Is it back in their homeland, or is it when they?
I want y'all to just.
All a nigga really.
Let's just look at this for a minute. This is what's going on. Can y'all see that? Oh my God. I mean,
do
y'all stealing stuff from over there? It's crazy, man.
Immigrants decide Black Americans don't have any culture? Is it back in their homeland, or is it when they step foot here? Because that looked like Black American culture circa 2005.
No, that's not Black American culture, baby. That's some straight up imposters. I would call 911 over there. I would call the equivalent of 911. Come get these people and take them put them in some straight jackets and take them away. But yeah, this is they. So they and here's the other thing you got to understand. You think that's funny, but there are Africans who are in other countries who pretend to be foundational Black Americans so they can get treated better. Like some of them will come to the United States and they'll live, and then they'll go and they have two African parents, and then they'll go somewhere else and really go heavy on the African American vernacular, et cetera, and try to pretend they're Black. But this is how far they go. So they can get treated better, because other Africans get treated horribly in Europe. They get treated terribly. Let's keep listening.
Friend explained to me that a lot of Africans don't like African Americans.
That's
simply a difference in culture. So let me explain how I discovered this. My friend and me were sitting down at an IHOP at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I invited him out. He said, "Thank you. I appreciate you. You are very kind." And I said, "No problem, bro. I appreciate you." He says, "So you are from Africa, and why you don't have the accent?" I said, "Well, I've been here long enough to where I kind of adapted a Midwestern accent, and I kind of lost the African accent." He said, okay, I understand, okay. So we were talking, and he said, "Oh, look at those hood rats over there." And I said, "The hood rats?" And there's a bunch of Black people just being loud and rowdy. And I said, "Well, they're not really hood, it's just they're us, they're Black people like us." And he said, "You know how it is." And sadly, I knew exactly what he was talking about. You see, he then began to explain to me, like just in general, what I had thought and known for quite some time. He said, "Africans do not know African Americans at all. They do not like them. Let me watch this." He said, "Hello, brothers."
Now,
and he signaled the hood.
Now here's the thing. again, let me reemphasize that Black Americans don't care if Africans don't like us. There are other people in this country that are far more important that don't like us, and we deal with them. Okay. That being the case, you letting us know that you don't like us only makes us say, okay, we'll take notes. And that's why you have the delineation movement going on. We're not going to fight you. We're not going to do anything like that. We're just going to let you deal with the environment that you live in. That's it. That's all we're going to do. We're going to let you get a full dose of this white supremacy racism, and we're not going to say a thing. You see what's happening with ICE? You see what's going on? Because, see, you're not the only ones. You have the Haitians and the other Caribbeans. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Thanks for letting us know. It's like when we found out that Samoans have a derogatory name for Black Americans. It's like, okay, all right. Thanks for letting us know. We appreciate that. Heads up. Okay. Well, let's keep going.
Rats that he calls them over.
Shout out to U.S. Lawyer 847. He said, Dennis is such a loser. And yet you're still a fan watching me at night, helping me get money so that I can continue on my losing journey. Thank you so much, U.S. Loser, for did I call him U.S. Loser? Yeah, thank you so much, U.S. Lawyer. I didn't mean any disrespect for helping me, for being a fan. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next person. But make sure you call me. Dennis is a Hall of Fame lawyer. Okay, let's do that. Let's make sure we do that. But keep going. Super fan.
Said, do you know who the African president is? And he says, nah, I know I did. I don't know, Shabuki, like, and he like did some clicking noise, like, oh, that boy, and he was like, yeah, thank you, brother. You all right? He said, yeah, I know my African history. I'm from the motherland. Peace up, word up. He says, word up. See, they're idiots. I'm like, oh, yeah. He says, he starts explaining to me about how they don't know African history. They only know African American history. That's all they know. It's a difference. He said American Africans are not good. And I'm like, what do you mean not good? He said they're not.
So they look down upon us because we don't know African history. Do you know Black American history? Do you know that? Do you know Black American history? Most of you all didn't even understand the transatlantic slave trade. You all thought we were immigrants. That's why when you found out Donald Trump was going to deport a bunch of Africans, you all were saying, and you all are next. You didn't realize that we can't be deported under the current legal regime because of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the Constitution, which gives us birthright citizenship. You see? So you're living in our country and you expect us to know African history. Most people don't give a darn about that. Do you not understand that Donald Trump represents, and I hate to just say it, and I know we got some people who don't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump pretty much represents the sentiments that the average American has towards foreigners and foreign countries. We think you all come from poop hole countries. Okay, somebody type poop hole in the chat room. So you're irrelevant. It's almost like it's like a rat talking to a bull. We don't care what you say. This is what you all don't seem to get. We don't care. But thanks for letting us know. Thank you for putting it out there. I think that was a strategic error. That's your arrogance. Okay, you let us know, and that's probably a problem. You don't have to tell us twice.
Us. They're not cultured like us. They're not us. And then I asked, I said, what?
We're not cultured like them. We're not cultured like you all are shitting in holes. You're still shitting in holes in Africa. You still have issues with electricity. You have roving blackouts. You have poor plumbing. Yeah, there's some nice places in some of the cities and the enclave, but the vast majority of the people in Africa, pretty much all over the countries. I mean, didn't we just like send a bomb? Didn't we bomb Nigeria or something like that? I think I have some video footage. This is what you all are living in, and you have a superior culture. I'm gonna jump on that culture in a minute. Let's keep going.
Like some Africans come over here because they want to be American. Well, they get American money, send it over to their family.
They get American money and they send it over to their family. So when we wonder why black dollars are not circulating in the black community in the United States, now we're beginning to understand that these same Africans who are now at about 25% of the 20 to 25% of the population, if you include the Caribbean folk, they're sending the money home. That's why we don't have as many African dollars circulating in the black community, or black dollars in the black community. They're sending it back to home to build a house or something like that. Let's keep listening.
Asian do this too. And there's a bunch of Asians in Africa for some reason. And there are
the Asians are colonizing y'all again. That's what the Chinese are whooping y'all. Let's keep going.
Subsection of Asian people, like Chinese people in Africa, because
and leaving babies too.
It's a whole thing. He was explaining all this lore to me. I didn't know anything about this. I was confused. I was like, "Are you sure this is real?" And he said, "As far as I know, this is real. This is what I know. I go by what I know. That is what I am." Then he started talking like homophobic and all this other stuff. And he said, well, think about it. Most older black people here even are homophobic. You know, when they say, is he this? And I said, okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. But, you know, the newer generation is coming out and changing that. He says, no, newer generation African Americans, a majority are homophobic. Same with Caucasus people. Caucasus people, they are also homophobic. And I said, okay, all right, okay, fair. And I was just learning how his perception was, and it got me thinking, why is it?
Man, look, this dude already knew that. You were raised by African parents. They've been saying the same stuff to you your whole time you were a child. You know that yourself, sir. Mr. Red and Green Hair out here looking like the black Joker. Let's get him up out here. Yeah, so stop with the BS. I mean, you know, you don't think we can read that? Let's keep listening. Hit the number 1 button.
People don't realize is that Africans in most European countries are treated like shit. But the thing that she didn't realize was, although I am African, I'm also American. So I did what any American would do, and I put my foot on the elevator, open that bitch up, and walk right.
So you cosplay a black American. That's what you did. You're African. You lived in the United States. You've practiced mimicking foundational black American behavior. And when white folk disrespected you with the subtle passive aggressive racism, then you flipped the script. That's what you did. Okay, go ahead.
Right in front of her. Everyone then begins to look up at me like, this monkey's bigger than I thought. She immediately begins to look down, continuing her customer service smile, and I begin to cuss her out.
So you're in Europe, you're in Europe on vacation, cussing out the European people in their store. That's what you're saying. That's why they don't like y'all over there. Don't go over there pretending like you us. They like when we come over there. We spend money, we speak English, okay? We don't bring all those problems, sir. All right, and all y'all need to comb your hair. Let me just say that we need to get some combs going on. Y'all need a hot comb. You know what a hot comb is? My grandma would put a hot comb on your head. We need to get that together. Your little ear tips to be burnt right there on a Saturday morning, on Sunday morning. Let me let you
really cuss her out, like saying shit I ain't never said before. Like, do you know where I'm from?
That's one.
Did you put your hands on me?
Well, you from Africa, sir. That's where you from. As
soon as they heard that accent, that American accent, shit flips. Her coworker loses his shit. Hey,
as soon as they heard that American accent, you in Europe cosplaying an American. That's what you saying. That's what y'all doing over there. Y'all over there. Y'all don't just tether in America. Y'all take the tether international. Y'all take the tether on the road. The tether show is on the road. That's what you're telling me, man. Over there giving us a bad reputation. How many white girls have you all been sleeping with? Talk about, yeah, man, I'm from, Chicago, Detroit. How many? Huh? How many? That's why those European men are angry with you all. We got to get them out of here. They angry with y'all. Poland won't even let you in. You're over there faking like you're black Americans, messing with them folk. Y'all need to cut it out. Go ahead.
What floor did you want to go to? I said, hey,
Yes, we need to file some identity theft charges on these cats, man.
Shut up your mouth. I'm not speaking to you right now. Push 3. All of a sudden, this random man steps from the crowd and says, "That is not us. That is not Italia." Everybody started talking about, "That's not Italia. That's not Italia. That's not Italia." Ooh, that shit had me hyped. I felt like Rosa Parks in that bitch.
Rosa Parks? Why couldn't you be like Nelson Mandela or something like that, bro? Come on now, you stealing all our people. Come on, man. I'm saying these people are something else, man. Somebody type identity theft in the chat room. Somebody type identity theft in the chat room. Let's keep listening. Hit the number one.
Understand what's the Africans' problem about Black Americans not saying they're from Africa? Are y'all slow? We're not from there.
Yeah,
like I don't get it. Like, how can y'all tell us where we're from? On our birth certificate, we are down as a U.S. citizen. So how can I be from Africa if my birth certificate says U.S. citizen?
And see, here's the cold part about it. It's like they speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Well, you're from Africa. You're from Africa. Now, I want y'all to listen to this I want you to listen to this real quick. Okay, this is Mike Epps on his new program. Okay, I'm gonna let it play for a minute. Let me put the music. I do not want this to get stricken or struck for a copyright, but this is off Netflix. Mike Epps telling us about his experience in Africa and why he said he ain't never going back. Shout out to Mike Epps. Fair use. This is for the purposes of educational purposes only. All right, let's take a listen. He said he went to Africa, he ain't never going back over there again. But let's listen. You're not like. Shout out to Mike Epps, man. Shout out to Mike Epps. Y'all make sure y'all check that episode out. But so I played that for the point to explain the following. These people swear up and down, oh, you black, you black, you black. And then when we go to Africa, say we black. No, you're not black, you're not black.
Make it make sense.
That's why we just gonna keep being what we gonna be foundational Black Americans. You understand what I'm saying? Stop letting we're moving around, and stop let these people have all the y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. Okay, I'm good. Now here's something else. Here's the cold part about it. We tried. They stole the FBA. They don't like the FBA. Check this out. Here's another one. This is Solon.
Now the word Solon has been hijacked too.
Mm-hmm.
You are Solon as soon as you step foot on American soil, black, and will be treated as such by other races.
What happens when you get deported? Are you still Solon once you get deported back to your country of origin? Is that how that works? Y'all just come over here and assume the identity. You just immigrate into an ethnicity. Can we do that? Can we go immigrate into your mama's house? Can we show up and get the benefits you get from being in your culture? I'm just saying.
And this comment came from a video of a Haitian girl that really just could not grasp or wrap her head around the concept that Solon is really a term for the ethnic group, the Black American, foundational Black American, ADOS, freedmen.
Yes.
That this group of people, my people, it's another term for us. It's not a term for Black people. It's not a term for everybody who is Black and comes to America. That's not how this works. You don't get to adopt an ethnicity just because you go into another country. I cannot go to Ethiopia and become Ethiopian. I cannot go to Mali and become Malian. Like, it does not work that way. So I don't know why everybody seems to think it works that way when it comes to Black America. Like, what is it? Like, are people just being willfully obtuse, or what is so hard about the concept that Black American?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to understand this myself. I thought this was just understood. Like, this is what we are,
It's an actual ethnicity. Like, why is that hard to understand for so many people? Like, they literally cannot wrap their heads around it. I don't understand why. Like, the girl the Haitian girl in the video, she just could not understand it. She's just like, I'm Solon because I'm Black.
No, it's Solon and FBA are not synonymous with Black. Okay, they they denote a specific group of people, like the American Negro. Just tell her, hey, well, you know what? I'm an American Negro. We can use that to let them be Negroes. Y'all can be Negroes. You can be a Negro. Instead of saying Salon said we're gonna be maybe they'll go back to being Negro and then we'll run and jump back to being FBA. Yeah, let's go tell all of them we just gonna be Negro again and let them be, let them be Negroes. They might not like that one, but let's keep listening.
Where did you get that from? That's not how this works. Because in the video she said something like, well, what about all the other black people that come over here? Like, are they not black too? Like, as if she just couldn't grasp the idea that Solon doesn't mean black. It just means like our people, like descendants of chattel slavery on the continent, in the continental United States. So if you have a lineage here that goes back to chattel slavery, that goes back hundreds of years, and you are a black person, then you are a Solon. If you are a immigrant, or you have immigrant parents, or you came here sometime during the 1900s or the 2000s, you are not Solon. You are from wherever you are from. Okay,
they
understand. Is that clear, or do we need a further explanation? Like, I'm not really
sure. Them. They understand. They just acting like they don't have good sense. They know exactly what you're talking about. It's just inconvenient for them because they've been hooking and crooking and lying and scheming, getting free stuff all these years, and now it's all messed up. Keep listening and let's keep it pushing. Okay.
Black Americans do not have a home. That was what was said on my comment section on my previous video by my African brothers and sisters. Okay, come to think of it for a second. Why do we run from our so-called home and come to live in a homeless land? Why do we do that? Why are we Africans running from poverty, broken system, and war to live in a homeless land? Why are we doing that? While there was one who stayed, fought, built, and survived through 400 years of hell, Black Americans may not.
I thought, look, why don't y'all comb y'all hair? That's what I want.
I don't know their village or tribe, but let me tell you, these people stayed and built a rhythm, a culture, and an unbroken soul that is unmatched. These people turned pain into power, they turned shame into culture, they made a place that was feeling like nowhere.
Did a place like feeling like, man, why are they all in our business like that? That's another thing, man. I mean, golly, why are they all in our business? It's like, you folk, man, y'all don't have no business of your own. But anyway, let's check some more videos out. I find this very interesting. See, here's the thing you need to understand. Everybody knows what's going on. And the funny thing is now you got white people who are saying, what the hell is going on? And so anytime I want you to listen to this white American woman. Listen to her. She's looking like Lion-O. Look at Lion-O.
From a certain community. To be specific,
listen
hate coming from a certain community. To be specific, the African Americans.
We don't call them African Americans. Go home.
I'm sorry. My bad. Go home. That's right. You heard the little angry white woman. Go home. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was having flashbacks. Uncle D was having flashback to years gone by. I'm just, not the same person I used to be. I used to be a little different back in the day, but I'm not there anymore. Shout out to me in 1993 up in Venice Beach, California with the Chuck Taylors on, baby. Y'all don't want to see me. Shout out to me on the east side of Los Angeles with my little thumb in my mouth, hanging out with my Solon family members. Praise God. Shout out to me on the block 60 60th Street in Normandy. Anyway, let me get back to the broadcast. I was having a little flashback. Let me get on back to being a lawyer. Anyway, so people are noticing. People are noticing. I got another video. Hit this #1 button. Y'all let me know if you can hear it.
Question for non-Americans. How come only Black Americans owe you an explanation of where they're really from?
Mm-hmm.
How come Black Jamaicans don't owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come Black Brazilians don't owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come Black Colombians and Black Panamanians and Black anybody else, how come they don't owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come when people from any other country who are black tell you, I'm from Panama, I'm from Brazil, I'm from Dominican Republic, wherever it is, how come you take them?
I just want y'all to understand there's a lot of people out there that want to curry favor with us right now because we are not cooperating. We are resting, and everybody's trying to get us off the couch. Yeah, I love the black people. Black people are wonderful. You know, so now isn't that something? Look, let's just give ourselves a hand. Shout out to Gerald542. Isn't it amazing when you just sit back and let the Lord work? The Lord told us to sit back. Hallelujah. The Lord told us, no, I'm gonna let my people rest. And now everybody is out here fighting our fight for us. Ain't God good? You see what I'm saying? You got the little white girl look like Lionel. You got this little chubby Latina chick telling them exactly why is it we have to explain. It's wonderful. I thank God for all the African studies courses around the United States that all these folk have taken just so that they can try to get a better connection with their black boyfriend. Shout out to all the black boyfriends in college that dated these young ladies that have got them motivated, got to get out there and represent to the fullest. Go ahead, little torta lady. Go ahead.
For what they say when they say it. But when a black American says, I'm American, you ask them, okay, but where are you really from? Why are you always calling Americans dumb when you don't understand the transatlantic slave trade and you don't understand that all these people came on the same boats, just on different stops?
Yeah.
Why is it that...
And see, here's the other thing I need you to understand. See, now that we've delineated, these immigrants are no longer getting treated like black Americans. They're getting the immigrant treatment. Okay, yes, they're black and they're immigrant, but once you strip away the black American part of it, then the other immigrants are saying you just a damn immigrant. You don't even have any say-so over here. That's what you see happening right now. And that's going to require these folks to have to readjust their sides because they don't get in black people business like that normally. Okay. They don't really get in our business like that. Let's keep listening to the broadcast.
Talk to me about an immigrant, man. Look. The immigrant guys, let's talk about this. Let's take academics, for example. Immigrant. This man was supposed to be a mathematical biologist. He's seen our culture here in America. It's like, this shit crazy. Because when they
I already know this whole thing is gonna get demonetized. All these copyrights I'm gonna deal with. But anyway, y'all, I hope you're learning something. And make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Come from, it's not going down like that. He made his career off what me and the guys really do. The dude, Flacco, immigrant, and don't he got he caught a case for harassment. Pull that up.
Pull it up.
What's the other dude? Oh, fresh and fit, Myron. Immigrant.
He's saying
that's
immigrant.
The problem.
He's saying immigrant like a dirty word. Immigrant.
We is black men in America.
We is.
The shit that they want to glorify, we trying to get away from.
We trying to get away from.
We're not trying to come on the internet and talk gangster.
Hell
we
no.
did it already, and we all sitting here by the skin of our teeth.
We are here by the skin of our teeth. We're getting away from that. You understand me, homeboy? You don't know. Anyway, yeah, that ain't what we do. You know, they're glorifying that aspect of black culture. That's really what they cling to. And that's what they base things on. But let's keep on pushing. And you know what? Let me go on ahead and do this right quick. Well, let me play this a couple of minutes. So this is Fat Joe, the Puerto Rican dude.
An American, or are you African?
I want you to hear what he just said. So he's on the show, I guess in New York, and he has a black immigrant who's basically infringing on the territory of what would be FBA culture. And so Fat Joe, basically having been checked himself, is saying, are you black American or are you an immigrant? Listen to this cat. This is live. You understand?
I'm asking you a question. Is you African American or are you African?
I'm African. We all African.
Yes.
We all African. No, sir. We are not all African. You are African. I'm an American. You hear that? Let's keep listening. He's somebody type, in the chat room. Never been asked that. You got blowed out. Covers blown.
But I'm just saying the way you flowed on them African beats was almost like you from Nigeria, not from Washington. I'm not telling you the truth. You know what you did on that shit. No. I'm just telling you, you sounded African on this shit.
My full name is Olubawale. That's a Nigerian.
Oh, this the fuck I'm talking about.
You know, I think everybody.
Where is you at? You don't know this?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He was too busy making street runners, man.
Yo, you crazy?
Yeah, sitting up there faking and frauding and selling rap music and cosplaying. Just got checked. That's what's happening. I mean, it's happening. I mean, the word is getting around. Okay. And the thing you have to understand is that, we are tired of them pretending to be us. See,
the immigrant class think that we all look the same or we all have the same energy. And they like to say, well, white people, they don't know the difference. Or they like to say, when the police see you, they all see black.
Are you a U.S. citizen? When you came, you were asking me, I am this one, so I'm not this one. You asked me my ID and I show you my ID. I'm not this one we're looking for. So how so?
Show me. Are you in this country legally?
No, I'm not illegally here.
Legally? Are you here legally?
I'm not illegally here.
Officer, we're going to figure out who you are.
No,
no.
Excuse me.
But they're gonna whoop you. You better get out the car. You better get on out of there.
Excuse me,
James.
All day. Hell out. Going back. Headed back. Get out of here.
He's not in this country legally. He's not in this state.
You gotta go. Yeah. They can tell the difference between us. Here's something I want to share with you guys. Let's have a racist moment real quick. Shout out to all the white supremacist racists. Here's one of your favorite up and coming comics. This is what they think about you Africans. I want you to just know this.
Popular in the international community. What community? A bunch of people going. That's who gives a fuck what they think.
This is what they think about you, folks. I just want you to know, Africans, this is what the typical American thinks about. And Black Americans are also Americans. I want you to, we try to give you a little deference, okay? But this is what the typical American thinks about you once they find out you're an immigrant, okay? Keep that in mind.
Seriously. They wouldn't even have fucking, anything if it wasn't for white people. What is a road? They don't, there's a road. We fucking, like white liberal women in America are like, colonialism is the most horrible thing on this planet. And then in Africa right now, they're like, we would like you to come back. We want colonialism. We like the white man more than the Chinese people.
And it gets worse. Y'all hit the number one, but this is what now it's outright. This is what the comics. This is a comic saying this about you all. This is what this is the current comedy. Okay, here you go. Here's another one.
He's like, that's a weird ass headshot. Even Somalians, they're not black.
They're not black.
Like they're black, but they're not.
Somalians are not black. Now he's gonna say some racist stuff, but let's keep listening.
Like when an American black guy sees a Somalian, he's like, that's a weird ass headshot.
God damn. And see, again, I don't think the typical African really understands how the typical American feels, but they know. That's why they hide their identity. That's why they cosplay Black Americans. But it's like, we know you, we know. The white people know. We all know. We just they don't do anything to you because, they don't do anything because it's like, well, they're black, and we don't want to get Tyrone and Jamal and Keisha mad at us, so we'll leave them alone. But the minute you all start talking stuff and being disrespectful, I'm like, okay, Yeah, we're gonna just pull back that shield, but we're gonna delineate. You see what I'm saying? We just gonna go ahead and delineate. Let's keep listening.
Just saying, like, I don't know. Somalians, I mean, they are similar to blacks. They do steal, but they...
Yeah, this racist ass motherfucker. His name is Ben Bankas, but he's actually from Canada. So he's a Canadian, and he's about as racist with the jokes as any other racist.
It's a little more sophisticated. They had Tim Waltz at the head of it. And,
oh, Lord.
Fucking Ilhan Omar running defense. Ilhan Omar. I love that. You're just supposed to accept that. Who's in charge? What's her name? Ilhan Omar. Oh, fuck. Like, I'm just saying, I've never seen whatever she's wearing on her head, and it made me happier. Like, I've never seen a hijab and been like, oh, good, they got hijabs at the airport today. Perfect. I was worried there was going to be all white people in this. I just came from Detroit. They got fucking women with hijabs on the runway, fucking with a fucking hijab on. I'm like, she put something in the wheel. How is she just allowed to be out there like that, willy-nilly?
Don't laugh. None of y'all better be laughing at this racist shit. None of y'all, but nobody.
Even Somalians,
but
even
he's not wrong. Okay, I got one more. I found this very interesting. And this is
brown. I'm not like I'm only racist.
I want y'all to listen to what he's saying.
Black and brown. I'm not like I'm only racist if you weren't born here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, because the liberals are trying to brainwash black people into being like, yeah, well, you're part of this. You're black and brown people. We're all the same. No, we're not. The black people who were born in America are not the same as an Indian guy.
Black people born in America are not the same as immigrants. Okay, keep listening.
They're not the fucking. That's not. Oh, you're against diversity, so you're racist against black people. No, I want black people to be racist against Indians. I don't.
Oh, shit.
And I know they are.
Yes, we are. I think we should. Yes, we are racist. Black people. I don't want to say racist, but we are definitely bigoted and prejudiced. We could be racist if we had power. Okay, you can't be in the United States and not be a little racist. That's why when we hear these Africans talk about, oh yeah, you are katas, I'm like, okay, we got you. Yeah, all right, go right on ahead. Okay, go ahead. Go. We all that. All right, got you. Check. Yeah, we're gonna let you feel that smoke that you got coming. Now, this whole delineation thing has caused a bit of an uproar amongst folks in the black community, people who consider themselves pro-black. But I'm not pro-black. I'm not one of the pro-blacks. That's not what I do. Okay, I just need y'all to understand that. I am a black man who loves my people, but I do recognize we do some effed up stuff. I'm not gonna be 100 with you on the F stuff. Okay, I know I'm black. I love being black. Would never want to be anything but a black man. But the thing is, there are people who feel that same way, who are definitely all in it. They're pro-black, et cetera, and they love our people. But they have a problem with this foundational Black American movement because it kind of interferes with their pan-Hellenic global black thing. So let's listen to this brother. I'm sure you guys have heard him before.
The foundational.
Have you guys heard this before? So I'm gonna give a little commentary on this gentleman right here. Let's keep listening to the broadcast.
FBA, the foundational Black American. These niggas ain't involved in nothing outside. They ain't doing shit outside. They on the internet looking for niggas that look just like them to degrade and call tethers all day. I don't see these niggas doing no work against none of these fucking Nazis, none of these fucking Klansmen, nothing. All I see is them niggas calling out other black people all day. That's divisive as fuck. Questioning niggas. Where you from? Where was you born? Nigga gotta show you your freedom papers? Damn, massa. I gotta show you the freedom papers? Who is these niggas on this nag? Bunch of motherfucking Stevens over there trying to check a nigga blood.
want to check a nigga papers. Sound like ICE. Another 3-letter organization. Healing and perspective, or hate speech and fear mongering. But a lot of us only know how to be in community with abusers. So when niggas start talking about healing, when niggas start talking about organization, we start talking about inclusion, we start talking about mass.
So the reason that I don't really do the pro-black thing, because there's a confluence of so many different concepts just to try to win an argument. The bottom line is the other people in the diaspora have already delineated from us. They will tell you that they are not Black American. They will tell you that they're Jamaican. They will tell you that they're Nigerian. They will tell you that they're Ghanaian. They will tell you all these sorts of things. And so they've already delineated. All we're doing is acknowledging and saying, okay, yeah, you're right. We are not Jamaican. We are not from Guyana. We're not from Colombia or Brazil. We're not from any of the countries in Africa. We are Black American. And in fact, what we'll do, so you all can have your space, we'll let everybody know that we are foundational Black Americans, meaning we were here before they got here. And so by doing that, that helps what? It helps put everybody in a category. Now, we can always unify on some, ancestral motherland, homeland, African unity, but at the end of the day, or should I say, our homeland is the United States of America. So, but I would deal with that in a different way. But here's the thing: you have to understand, as angry as they may be, it's not going to change anything, because the term FBA is already circulating in political, entertainment, etc. I'm gonna let this gentleman finish, and then I'll move forward.
That's communal practices. You've never seen that. That's not your experience. That's not
communal practices. Communal practices. Remind me to explain that aspect of African culture when I finish.
Not where you feel comfortable. Calling niggas names, checking niggas verification. What hood is this? What hood is that? Now, if we was gangbanging and killing each other, it would be a problem. But it's
gangbanging. Where do we go with that? I thought we were having an intellectual conversation about, delineation. We're talking about ethnicity, nationality. We're talking about culture. We're not talking about gangbanging. Okay, that has to do with underworld, criminal activity, not what we're talking about right now. Respectfully, sir.
It's not a problem when a nigga asks where you from and it's on the internet and it's on the basis of a culture that we created out of oppression. You don't want to let other niggas participate in your culture because they come over here and degrade him. And you know the business of colonization better than anybody. These niggas is bright.
How do you participate in a culture? Either you are the culture or you're not. Now, you can reap the benefits of the culture by making money off the music, off the entertainment, off of the success of the culture and the businesses that we've created, the niches that we've created, the educational opportunities, the job opportunities. But again, the culture was designed to benefit the people who live in that culture and who sacrifice as that culture required, not for somebody who came and stepped into the front of the line. Again, this is the problem with letting people who, have, people who have this street mentality. And I'm not saying, look, as you guys see, I grew up in the element, okay? I grew up in South Central Los Angeles back when it wasn't fun in the 80s and 90s. It wasn't popular, so I understand the street element. But, just because you're in the hood doesn't have to mean you're low class or ghetto. You understand? The hood is just where Black people live. But I'm going to let this gentleman continue speaking.
Washed. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that come here from another country in search of the American dream when I know this shit is a nightmare. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that think he finna get some favor from these white people. I see you niggas that's born in America do the same shit. Michigan head coach, that nigga ain't no tether. Stephen A. Smith ain't a motherfucking tether. How many niggas have we seen tap dance and degrade Black people that are from America, born in America?
Yeah, but we have names for those people and we shame them within the color, within the culture. See, that's the difference. Yeah, you're always going to have Black people who are willing to sell out and be sycophants. That's not the issue. Shout out to Dre Harden. Thank you so much for being the 7th person to learn something tonight. Thank you so much. Hopefully some more of you all will learn something and I can earn something. But, hint, hint. We'll see how it goes.
When niggas do it from abroad, I don't say it's an issue with them. I know that they're brainwashed by the system. Because they went through colonization over there, just like we went through it over here. Why the fuck is they leaving Africa? Because Europeans are destabilizing their countries.
No. Africans are destabilizing African countries. Because it's Africans who participated in colonization. It was the Africans who worked with the Europeans. The typical white European at that time period wouldn't last more than a year on the west coast of Africa without the support. There's a book called Daughters of the Trade, and it explained how the entire family participated, the entire African family, father on down. They even gave him a wife while he was there, normally one of their daughters, so that to keep him happy and basically be his concubine while he was there. So Africans allowed for colonization. And the other thing you have to understand is colonization did not last. Colonization happened because Europeans already had a foothold in the African continent because Africans participated in the slave trade. The Danish left and the English came in and put up a fort. They literally bought the fort from the Danish. That's how they colonized West Africa. And the Danish fort was meant for slavery. So, let's not shift blames. It's the culture. It's their culture. That's
concerning capitalist dictators, fascist dictators, and more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing, where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better. And it's a bunch of niggas in America that don't know.
Are you saying that the Africans don't? You got a lot of excuses for them, brother. You got
don't know better.
But the best thing to do is just delineate from them, right? Somebody type delineate, and that way we don't have to deal with it because we say, "Oh, you're African."
They only are used to being in community with abusers. We have been oppressed in this country for 400 years. Some of us don't know how it feels not to be oppressed. Some of you ain't comfortable if you're not oppressed. You've never created an idea of what freedom looks like for you.
I mean, maybe we should move to China. You guys, hey, you know what? Let's move to China or Russia. I'm sure they're not oppressed there. How about Afghanistan? Let's all move to China, Russia, or Afghanistan, or maybe India. I think would that be a better place not to be oppressed? Do you guys think the oppression in China is less oppressive here? I'm kind of starting to think that oppression is kind of everywhere. I'm kind of thinking that it's just part of the human existence. I don't think there's a happy, friendly utopia anywhere on the planet. You kind of got to deal with whatever's around you. It's like weather. It's just something you have to deal with. And you have to have a culture designed for you to excel, which Black Americans have done with our culture.
Black Americans, and I advocate for this. Nigga, me and Big Cat are the blackest of Black Americans. We are
he's a pro-Black brother. And so this is what I'm talking about.
True to the Black American experience. We are proud. We also understand that our story doesn't start here nor end here. The Panthers were Pan-Africanists. Marcus Garvey was a Pan-Africanist. All the leaders.
Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. Okay, let's get that straight.
And things that came before you that gave you the blueprint to feel revolutionary were also thinking about global movements, mass communal practices.
They were thinking about it and it didn't work, did it? Let's keep going. Sylvester Hunter, let's keep
instead
going.
of micro movements.
Yeah, so again, us asserting our decision to delineate apparently has upset people. But as I said before, none of that these folk are saying, even the brothers who are pro-Black or whatever, it's not going to stop anything. That's what I need you to understand. Hit this number one. Y'all let me know. Y'all can hear this.
Thing as a foundational Black American.
There's no such thing as FBA. Hate to break it to you.
I regret to inform you that FBA don't exist.
But they're saying it. They're saying it. So why don't we just say the American Negro doesn't?
African Americans are aware that the FBA is bullshit.
This is going to drive some people crazy, but there is no such thing as foundational Black America.
Well, there's no such thing as race, but we have black and white, don't we? Right? Is that what you're saying? There's no such thing as race, but some kind of way we've invented, this social construct called black, white, Hispanic, etc. Shout out to Dre Harden.
This movie was a very interesting opportunity for.
Now, this is Ryan Coogler. You guys know him from the Black Panther. I want you to listen to him as they sat up there and said there's no such thing as foundational Black American. I want you to see how deep it's already permeated. Listen.
This movie was a very interesting opportunity for me to do some research about my lineage. You know, me being a foundational Black American.
Me being a foundational Black American.
You know, my family.
One is we are unequivocally heritage Americans, which is white people delineating from the new white people. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody, all the Americans are delineating. The white people are referred to themselves as heritage Americans. Foundational Black Americans are referring to ourselves as FBA, and we fall under that umbrella. So everybody's delineating, okay?
And, you know, someone rolls in from Ghana and, like, you know, gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of Black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's a fair perspective, right? I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that. But secondarily,
it's good to call them out. Might type FBA in the chat.
Actually go out and try to gaslight us and think that you're just one of those guys that has been here, you know, since the early 1800s and your family was in the struggle too. You're not. And that's a very interesting term that the foundational Black Americans use. It's called tether. They're tethering. They come here literally one generation in, and they try to just sit around and act so folksy that we're all part of the same struggle and we're all down. No, you just got here, dude. Like the Haitians, like the guys from Ghana who just got here, you don't get to just be a part of our system and then lecture us.
You don't get to be a part of us. So FBA is not going anywhere, family. And irrespective of how these people feel, how uncomfortable it makes them feel, it's not going anywhere. It's part of the ethos.
I just want to thank the audience for showing up and made the world. This movie was made by hundreds of people. We don't always, when we work in the film business, wear tuxedos and look glammed out. It's usually a grind. You know what I mean? We wearing like performance fishing gear, and we in the swamps, and it was an honor on this movie to know that it was getting a theatrical release. We would remind people every day in the dog days of summer in New Orleans. We would say, "Hey, big movie, people gonna see this, big theater." We didn't know that would show up, so we just want to say thank you that they did. It meant the world to us.
You understand what I'm saying? So the movement is not going anywhere. It's going to happen. We've already made this thing hot. It is what it is. People are beginning to recognize there's a difference between the
That's after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks.
See, this is essentially the problem, and the Republicans don't understand.
What have we done to the immigrants? We owe black people something. We have a legacy of slavery. Immigrants haven't even been in this country.
But you see,
slavery. Black people who were enslaved, not immigrants who just showed up.
Most of us are either immigrants or are the descendants of immigrants, and we understand that not everybody. There are Native Americans, but we understand in this country. We understand.
No, Black Americans are American. They are not African. Black Americans are American, just like I am an American. I am not a European American. I have literally no connections to Europe at all.
Well.
I am American, and so are Black Americans. Quit trying to divide people by the color of their skin, and instead, let people identify as they please.
But what you are doing is really insidious because you are not a Black American, and that is different, and you should know that, and you probably do know that. I think it's really insidious what you're doing because I think you think that I don't know better. I think that you think that my understanding of racial politics in America means that I'm just going to take your word on it as a woman who is not a Black American over Black Americans because you are Black. And I'm sorry to tell you, you picked the wrong one.
You picked the wrong one. What they're telling you is what all Americans are telling you immigrants is that you all need to stay in your place. Whether you like it or not, this is how we are all. See, the thing you don't understand is that white American and Black Americans have an understanding, okay? And that understanding has not always been peaceful, but we have always had that understanding, even though our relationship has not always been peaceful. But The respect is there. We're Americans first, all of us. And you immigrants need to stay in your place.
I genuinely hate non-whites. I really don't. If that means anything to you, if that's worth anything, I really don't.
You all know this is Nick Fuentes. Let me turn my music up. I don't want YouTube. This is purely for educational purposes only. We're talking about social issues, and Nick Fuentes is whatever you think about him. He understands what's going on with his people. All right, listen to Hot Boy Nick.
I really don't hate anybody. I don't wake up with hatred for anybody. And I love all of them in their proper place. I like propriety. And it is proper for non-white people to be somewhat deferential in a country that was founded by whites. And by that, I mean, we want them to be courteous.
Now, he said in a country that's founded by whites. Now, I want you to listen how he corrects himself a little bit down the road. Listen.
Them to be considerate. We want them to have a little bit of acknowledgement. And I'm not talking maybe about blacks as much.
I'm not talking about blacks. They've been here. Their people been here before us. Okay? I want you to understand that, immigrants, as we delineate. They coming for you all. Shout out to Sylvester Hanna. They are coming for you all.
But for all of these immigrants and descendants of immigrants, how about a little bit of reverence for the country that welcomed you in?
How about that?
I don't hate you. I don't want you dead. I don't want you out of my country because you're non-white. What I expect is a little bit of reverence for the country that graciously welcomed you in. Yeah. If you want to stay here, if you want to call yourself American, then act like it. Be an asset, not a liability. Be courteous, be respectful. Have some fucking respect for the country and the people that built it, that graciously allowed you in. Where's your...
And that includes the black people. And even little racist Nick can agree with that.
Obligation. We have this obligation, endless tolerance, endless acceptance, always more welcoming. What is their end of the bargain? They come into this country that was built by whites. It's peaceful, it's prosperous, there's a legal system, and they're...
We're going to go ahead and let Nick go. Nick is filibustering and talking nonsense now. It wasn't built by white people. White people didn't do that type of work. But nevertheless, as I said before, word is out. Everybody knows. And, you know, you guys think you can keep just fooling white people. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Okay? Hit the #1 button. Let's keep it pushing.
That probably unique for the audience, but
move this over a little bit. I'll get that a little bit later. I got another couple, and then we're gonna go ahead and get to the meat of the broadcast. I wanted to make sure, of course, we'll listen to the current president, DJT-47.
Black patriots fought and bled on the battlefields of the American Revolution, and they really did. When you read the history, what they gave up. They gave everything to smash the chains of slavery and preserve our nation, and they did it with incredible bravery. They helped win the Wild West, tame the skies, and save freedom in the Second World War. They're warriors. From the very beginning, Black Americans have been a vital part of the American story, helping to make us the greatest nation in the history of the world.
From the very beginning, at the foundation. So, dear people who don't like foundational Black American, it's gonna stick. You can fight about it, you can argue about it, how you don't like it, fine, okay? But it doesn't matter. It's already done. Everybody's talking about it.
So true. Thank you. We thank you. We thank you for it. Black patriots fought and bled on the battlefields of the American Revolution, and they really did. When you read the history, what they gave up. They gave everything to smash the chains of slavery and preserve our nation, and they did it with incredible bravery. They helped win the Wild West, tame the skies, and save freedom in the Second World War. They're warriors. From the very beginning, Black Americans have been a vital part of the American story, helping to make this the greatest nation in the history of the world. So true. Thank you. We thank you. We thank you for Black patriots.
All right, let's I got one more video, and this is a blast from the past. Well, actually, let me run this one real quick first, and then I'm gonna run the last one, and we're gonna get to the broadcast, get to the lessons. Okay, hit the number 1 button when you can hear it clearly. Okay, one last one, right here.
You can't compare black people to the Cubans, to the Haitians, to the Vietnamese, to the Palestinians, people who just got here yesterday, but take advantage of what America offers, walk right on by black people, and then wonder, what's wrong with these people? They were here longer than we. Why don't you have what the Cubans have? Why don't you have what the Koreans have? Why don't you have what the Greeks have, the Irish have? Everybody that came after you has more than you. Why? Because this society robbed us of the knowledge of self. This world did to us what the ruffians did to Hiram. This world hit us in the head. This world robbed us.
All right, so across the political spectrum, I would think that everybody is pretty familiar with the issue of who is a Black American and who is an immigrant or who is a foundational Black American. We just gave it a name. Now, you guys ready to continue? Let's go ahead and proceed. I mean, anytime you got Nick Fuentes and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan agreeing, along with random entertainers, using the term FBA, we pretty much, it's in there. You understand? Now, let's do this. The term African American became widely used in the 20th century as a way to name Black people in the United States, with a phrase that acknowledged our African heritage and our American nationality. It was a simple point. And it was the civil rights leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He helped popularize that term in the 1980s. And it caught on in the media and politics and public life as a respectful way of describing Black Americans. Because remember, before that, we were Negroes, and that term kind of went out. Before that, we were colored, and that term kind of went out. And so now, you know, foundational Black American is a more appropriate term because, you know, now you got, I mean, originally African American was meant to connect Black Americans to ancestral roots of the African continent, while acknowledging that we're Americans. And okay, and again, nothing wrong with that. But after the Hart-Celler Act, Immigration Act of 1965, you had droves and droves. What that did was it abolished the old national origin quota system that opened the doors, that limited non-Black immigrants from coming to the country. And it opened the door wide for the world. So you had people, especially from Africa and the Caribbean and Latin America and Asia, they were coming here. Before that, they couldn't. And so over the decades, the face of Black America has shifted because we've allowed a lot of Black immigrants to come and build lives in the United States. Now, before 1965, Black immigration from Africa and other what we would call non-Western, non-white countries was extremely limited. Okay, and you know, there wasn't a firm count, but for the most part, there was about 50,000 Africans in this country who were born. 50,000, not 500,000, not 5 million. The other thing is, you know, 1 in 10 people were Black living in the United States. So instead of having 14%, we had 13%. And if you begin to look, we're still about 10%. The other 4% comes from the Africans, okay? So I need you to keep that in mind. Now, as it is right now, about 20% of the Black population is either immigrants or children of immigrants. I'm talking about right now in 2026. So Black immigrants themselves have grown dramatically from relatively a small number in the 1980s to millions here today. They're all over Dallas, Houston, Minnesota, right? Nigerians, Ethiopians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, others. They're African-born Black population. Okay, and on top of that, it's tripled from 1980 to 2024. By the end of this century, 40% of the world population is expected to be African or of African descent. And so here's the thing. A person whose family has been in the U.S. for generations and whose ancestors were enslaved here, that's different, okay, from a person who's a Black immigrant and they're from Africa or the Caribbean, or they're a child who arrived with his family a few decades ago. Both are Black, right? But the histories are different. The culture and experience are not the same. And that matters in the public discourse about lineage, history, reparations, identity, and social dynamics. And so we can't call them African American because that's not a proper term for 2026. Things have changed. The environment has changed. The populations have changed. So let's move on. And so for that reason, many Black Americans are using terms that are more precise, right? A precise term is foundational Black American. A precise term is Solon. A precise term is ADOS, which means American descendants of slavery, okay? Before that, it was Negro. Before that, it was colored, right? And we're doing that to clearly distinguish people whose families were brought to the U.S. under slavery and have lived here continuously for centuries from those who are recent immigrant arrivals. And so, you know, that's why many Black people in the Black community, we prefer the term foundational Black America. I like foundational Black America because I've been a Black American my whole life. And if I just add the qualifying descriptive term foundational, I don't have to change that much. You see what I'm saying? It's cool. Now, this brings me to the idea of tethering. Okay. And I want to explain something to you. Not all Black immigrants are tethers, but all tethers are Black immigrants. As I said earlier, we have a different name for Black people from America who are born in America, who are FBA, who are acting like, you know, what do they call them? Nocturnal trash pandas, right? We have a name for that, okay? But it's plenty of them, okay? But tethering means pretending that Black Americans are the same as Black people everywhere in the world. It's not. It means attaching yourself to Black American history and struggle and identity so you can receive the benefits, protection, sympathy, or status, okay? Okay, and I want y'all to listen to that word status, so you can receive the status. If somebody says, yeah, you don't know where I'm from Detroit. Well, you don't know my people from H-Town, my people from Little Rock, Arkansas. That carries a lot more weight than saying in the United States than saying, oh yeah, my people are from Accra. You're not even in this conversation. Why are you even here? And here's a case where a lady got called out for it. Listen to
Dylan
this.
Brooks, give him some love. He deserves it. Yes. And Fred Van Vliet, let's not forget him. Let's not forget him.
Unc, I need you to come with some more respect. Do you know where I'm from? Do you know my area?
Nigeria.
Well, that's true. That's the original area code. You ain't lying.
He always
you
says that to me, too.
You ain't lying. You funny. Where I was born and raised, even though my blood, and I'm from the Nigerian here. Yes.
Dylan Brooks, give him some love.
She was going to try to say she was from, I'm from 5th Ward, Houston, Texas, the 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. Like, no, you from Nigeria. And so she lost the immediate social status and that she would have, by being able to claim one of our historic neighborhoods, communities, and cities. You see what I'm saying? You get what I'm talking about. So that was an example of tethering. Okay, you trying to tether to our social status that you didn't earn and that your people didn't suffer from. It's not working. And what makes it worse is the disrespect that comes with it. Because for decades, many of these people openly mocked Black Americans. They said we had no culture. You heard what the other lady said, we have no home. Somebody type work harder in the chat room. So we're lazy. right? They said we're stupid. They call us Akata. They call us Jareer and all these other derogatory names. They tell us outright, oh, we don't like them. Who cares what you like? But I'm glad you let us know. They distance themselves from us whenever it's convenient. They told their children not to associate with us. They made it very clear they didn't see themselves as us. And now suddenly, all of a sudden, they want to claim our heritage. And see, that's not unity. That's not solidarity. That's audacity. And see, and that's not just an American phenomenon either. Because see, there are Africans who live in the United States. They learn the system and how it works. They go to Europe pretending to be foundational Black Americans so they can receive better treatment. You heard what that young man said, okay? Went over there and went off on the little Italian woman, pretending like he was a Black American, giving us a bad name. You see? And they know exactly what they're doing. They understand that Black American identity carries a certain weight. It carries a certain moral authority. People look up to us around the world, and it has a certain historical legitimacy in the West. We are the West. And so they cosplay it. They put it on like a costume. I mean, what they really are trying to do is destiny swap with us. They want to replace us in the story while erasing the price we paid to make that story possible. And see, that's why tethering is dangerous. It blurs lines on purpose. It allows people who were never part of the formation of Black America to step in and speak for us and represent us and benefit from us, what we built, while still holding us in contempt behind closed doors. And let me be clear. You can't insult a people for generations and then turn around and claim their lineage when it becomes valuable. You see? And that's how identity works. That's not how it works. And that's not how history works. And Black Americans are no longer accepting that. Tethering is not confusion. It's intentional identity theft. And the moment Black Americans started naming it, right, calling ourselves FBA, calling these people out for that, that's when we get the backlash, because people don't like being exposed. Now, here's the thing. This is something people rarely stop and think about. Black Americans are the only group in this country that's constantly forced to explain. We're constantly forced to explain our lineage, all right? No one walks up to Jamaicans and Americans and asks them what kind of African they are, right? No one demands that they break down their African ancestry before being accepted. But Black Americans are always put on trial, right? We're asked, where are you really from? Where you from? From Detroit, fool. Where you from? My people from Mississippi. My people from Arkansas. My people from Texas. Oh no, but where you really from? You see? And see, where do we descend from? You know? They do that as a play because they know most Black Americans don't know their African ancestry. They just know that some of our ancestors were taken from Africa. Okay? And then there's always that underlying feeling that we're not quite American enough, and whether we have a right to claim this country a home, because that's how we feel, some of us. But I mean, that's beginning to change, especially when you have people like me who are saying, hell, I'm more American than most of these white folk who are here. And again, but the bottom line is that feeling is not accidental. We've always been the other, okay? And see, what these immigrants are doing, these Black immigrants, it's psychological warfare. It's meant to weaken our confidence and blur our ownership and entitlement to this land. And when a people are made to question who they are, they're easier to control and manipulate. Now you come and running to them trying to get acceptance from them. If you can convince Black Americans that we're just temporary visitors or somehow part of the global Black group with no clear boundaries, then they can strip us of our political power, our economic demands, and our moral authority. Next thing you know, they'll be calling us Region 6 trying to get our reparations. Anyway, this is why defining lineage matters. It's not about feelings, it's about power, family. Now, here's the thing. Let me say this clearly. Black Americans are Americans, okay? The United States is our home, and it's been for the last 500 years. We are heritage Americans, and no one no one has the right to challenge that reality. You can't immigrate into an ethnic group. Let me say that again. You cannot immigrate into an ethnic group. Just could you look, just like you can't immigrate into being a white American, you can't immigrate into being a black American. Black Americans and white Americans both expect immigrants to stay in their place. What that means is stay out of our politics, stop stealing our culture, and stop giving us advice about how we supposed to make America better again. And y'all fled y'all's countries. And that goes for all you immigrants, whether you're Latino, white, Asian. We don't want to hear what you have to say. If your country was so good, you wouldn't have left it. Your parents wouldn't have left it. Your grandparents wouldn't have left it. More importantly, you're always welcome to go back. Okay, but you don't. And what that tells me is that nobody has more pride in their country than somebody fighting not to be sent back. That's what I think all of us have realized. Now, here's and that I find that, and I see people waving their Mexican flags and protesting against ICE. Well, if you love it so much, just go ahead and take that ride. But see, here's the uncomfortable part, the truth that people avoid. White Americans don't care about Africans. Shout out to Flowers Galore. White folk do not care about Africans. I'm gonna be honest with you. They don't look, listen to me. Okay? They don't see Africans as anything other than jungle monkeys and baboons. I know that's harsh, that's how they see it. You understand? We know it. We know it. Okay? And if there's some white folks in this chat room, they'll tell you. All right? Now, typically in polite society, we don't go off on each other like that, right? Because typically when they say crazy stuff to it, it's going to be some repercussions from black folk. But again, ain't nothing y'all can say to us that ain't been said to us over here. We've been by ourselves for 500 years. Y'all just showed up about 50 years ago. That's like somebody been locked down for a year and you show up a couple of months and think you run things. You don't know the politics going on over here, okay? And here's the thing, and I know that's hard language, but it's the truth. And if we're going to speak the truth, we need to tell the whole truth. And in many cases, okay, they actually want black Americans to be more hostile toward black immigrants. They actually want us to be more hostile towards brown immigrants and Asian immigrants. Did you hear what that comedian said? You see how all those people laugh? Okay, number one, because division benefits the dominant society. In other words, what I'm saying is, the only thing protecting you all from the onslaught of white supremacist racists is the protection and the shield provided by foundational black Americans. It's just on the strength of our presence and our reputation. We know each other. Again, as I said before, white people and black people in America have an understanding. That does not necessarily mean we've always got along. It just means we have an understanding. We know they go off, but then also they know we will respond. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about what they're actually trying to steal. See, if we weren't a valuable people, if we didn't have all these successes, guess what? They wouldn't be trying to imitate us. I don't see a bunch of Africans going to Jamaica trying to imitate Jamaicans, not taking anything away from them. I don't see a bunch of Africans immigrating to Trinidad. They're not going to Barbados. They're not trying to, they coming to the United States of America. Okay, and the reason is because our inventions, our culture, our impact, our influence, it didn't come from anywhere else. Phrases like the real McCoy exist because Black American excellence was copied, it was stolen, it was diluted, it was rebranded. And yet, when people try to claim Black Americans, they only want to claim the good parts. They want to claim the doctors, they want to claim the lawyers, the engineers, the athletes, and the entertainers. They never want to claim the failures, the criminals, or the social problems that came from centuries of oppression, like the selective, the selective claiming is very dishonest. And so if you're going to claim Black America, then claim all of it. Claim the neighborhoods under siege, claim the gang leaders, claim the drug dealers, claim the communities that are falling apart, claim the trauma that comes with generational damage. Claim all of that, or don't claim none of it. And if you're going to claim it, then be willing to help repair it. And see, that's what we expected from you Africans and you Caribbeans when you came up here. Not to come up here and step on us and talk reckless and disrespect us. We were told Africans was coming to bring the enlightenment and wisdom of Timbuktu with all the solutions. That's where everything was invented. We thought y'all was just going to bring Wakanda to Compton. You see? And instead you showed up with distance, contempt, and exploitation. Now, here's the thing. Since we're going to talk about Black American achievement, I want to talk to you about a gentleman. His name was George Washington Jones Sr. Okay? That's his name. Somebody say George. Say grandpa. Say uncle. He might be uncle. He might have an Uncle George. George Washington Jones Sr. That's who I want to talk to you all about today. All right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit the number 1 button, and y'all let me know you can see what I'm about to put up. This is a cleaned up photo. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this man. All right? That's a cleaned up photo of George Washington Jones Sr. Can y'all see that clearly? Let me tell you a little bit about him. He was born on April 18th, 1857, or April 15th, 1857. In Coffeyville, in Yallabusha County, Mississippi. He was born enslaved. And I'm not talking about figuratively. There's literally a bill of sale with his name. Well, he was the property of Mr. Jones. And that's the beginning of his American story. Okay? He went to Russ College. Russ College, which was started by the Freedmen's Aid Society and Methodist Episcopal Church. Somebody type freedman in the chat room. That's what we would call fresh out of slavery, freedmen. Okay, that's why the term freedman and American Negro and Solon and FBA are all synonymous. He went to Russ College straight out of slavery. And I want y'all to hear his words, because George Washington Jones, he was born enslaved in Mississippi, but he stood in American courtrooms. And let me hear you. I want y'all to hear some of his words. As an attorney at law and practicing before Judge Smith in this district, ever since he had been on the bench, I have drawn my fees largely from white clients. And I am imbued with the idea that when a man stands before the bar of justice, it makes no difference what may be color of his skin, whether it be African, Indian, Mongolian, or Anglo-Saxon. That is a man who understood the law and his place in this country. He told juries in these are his words. And I'll actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do y'all a favor. I'm going to let you all see one of his closing statements. Well, I'm gonna read it. I'll put it up later on my I'll put it up later on my post if you guys really want to see it. But he said, in the streets of Boston, in the Revolutionary War, the first blood shed was that of an African at Petersburg, and Richmond with Sherman to the sea, with Grant at Appomattox in Indian wars upon the plains of Santiago in Cuba. The black men had fought for this country and shed his blood in defense. Okay. And when he made it plain and plain enough for anyone to listen, you know, he said it also. He said he is an American citizen, loyal and patriotic, and asks only fair play and simple justice before the law. That's not immigrant language. That's not borrowed identity. Okay. That is foundational Black American formation spoken by a man who was once property on paper and later an attorney / officer of the court. When he died, white newspapers honored him. Ministers eulogized him. Lawyers wrote tributes. Even Booker T. Washington sent a letter praising his life. His daughter, Pearlie Jones, married Charles A. Groves. Now, if that name sounds familiar, that's because he was the son of Junius Groves, the potato king. And that was one of the wealthiest Black men in the United States. Okay. And so this is law, this is land, this is capital, and lineage built right here. And for you all who don't know, Junius Groves owned 550 acres worth $150 per acre. That's a lot of money back then. We talking millions of dollars. Black men. So my daughter, I'm a prominent lawyer. My daughter is marrying the richest man, one of the richest black men in America, his son. This is what we did. And look, George Washington Jones, look here, man. The man starts his life as a slave, but as an identifiable slave mother. His mother's name was Eliza, or Eliza, spelled E-L-I-Z-A, and his slave owner was Ronald Ward Jones. And this man becomes a lawyer. And that's the most extreme social, legal climb that you can make in America. You can't vibe your way into that story. Okay, it's a people's history in one man. Okay, from chattel slavery to status and officer of the court. He didn't flee. Okay, he didn't flee the law. He conquered it. He studied under Josiah T. Settle and was admitted to practice in Mississippi. You understand me? And his freedom was not just his escape; it was an institutional compass. The kind of changes. If it changes the direction of a family. He received a written warning in Grenada. He was so good at practicing law, the damn Klan, he actually got a black man off for killing a white man in Mississippi, and they was trying to kill him. You understand me? And he didn't leave immediately. He packed his stuff up after a while and took his family and moved to Georgia. But he took an article out in the newspaper saying, I ain't going nowhere, period. It was a strategic move. It was a black self-government. He became the correspondent for the Memphis Watchman. He was sent to Kansas. He visited Nicodemus during the Exodus movement, where they call it the Exoduster movement. And he saw black landowners relocated his family to Hill City, Kansas. He showed what freedom looked like. You understand me? And he didn't just practice law. He became essential to the county. He built a lucrative commercial practice, including counsel work for Equitable Mortgage Company. He served 2 terms as a county attorney in Graham County, Texas. He's the first black man elected as the county attorney for Graham County, Texas, and he did it from 1896 to 1900. And that's proof he wasn't a token. He became a structural part of how the county functioned. He trained the next generations. He set up the next 2 black county attorneys, William Lincoln Sayers and John Q. Sayers. If you understand how the civil rights movement was won, you'll recognize those names. Those are 2 people that this gentleman changed. All right. And what this is what a builder does. He creates continuity, not just one time. Okay. His own words show what he was really fighting for. He didn't take his money, okay? He didn't take his money and go try to ship it off and build a house back in Africa somewhere. Oh, no. Because he was a foundational black American straight up out of slavery. He recycled his black dollars. He trained within the community. He was fully immersed in the community and the well-being of foundational black Americans. He argued that justice should not change by color, that a black man shed blood for a country, and his client asked for only for fair play and simple justice before the law. That is a foundational black American form man speaking in a court in a land where he was just freed. You understand me? Now, he died in 1908 while defending the client in a town called Waukene, Kansas. And the tributes described his reach all the way up into the Kansas Supreme Court. They actually just honored him in the Kansas Supreme Court. Again, Booker T. Washington wrote him a very flattering letter and thanked him for his service. Even the record of his enemies, it had to admit, even the people that didn't like him, he earned their respect. Remember, he had a whole bunch of white clients at the time, but we were still in the midst of slavery, And again, the capstone is the marriage of his daughter, Pearlie Jones, to Charles Groves, son of Junius Jones. And that increased their fortunes. This is what we were doing. You understand me? Now, by contrast, I want to show you something else. Are y'all still with me? Let me know if you're bored or not. I need you to let me know. I want to make sure that I'm not boring anybody. This is our history. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you a better photograph. I'm gonna show you a couple things. This will be his eulogy. So you'll know what we're talking about. All right. Are y'all able to see that? That's what he looks like. That was an actual rendition of him. This is one of the young lawyers that trained up under him. Let me know if you can see this. This is Sayers here. This is one of the Okay. Hit the wrong button there, my bad. I'm gonna share this. I want you guys to see this real quick. This is Mr. Sayers. This is one of his a young lawyer that trained under him. That's the library. That's the law library that these men had back in their office. Can you see that? So this is George. This is the law office that they had with the law library. All right. I'm gonna share some more photographs with you. Matter of fact, let me go ahead. This is his certificate for admission into the United States Federal Court, the District of Kansas. Y'all looking at that? George W. Jones, admitted November 1898, November 30th, 1898. Okay? This is FBA history right here. Now I got one more thing I'm gonna show y'all. See, that's all the good stuff, right? That's the good stuff, right, y'all? That's the stuff we can be proud of, lawyers and that's the good stuff. We like looking at that. I want to show you all something else. Okay. Let me know you all can see this clearly. I want you to take a good look at it. Shout out to Rick Simmons. Can y'all see that? If you can see that clearly, let me know. You can see that clearly, let me know. So hit the number 1 button if you can see that clearly. This is a document. You want me to zoom in? I'll zoom in for you. Can you see it clearly? This document is a slave receipt. It's dated November 18th, 1857 from Grenada, Mississippi. It's recording a payment of $5,500 for 8 human beings. 1857. And that number, if you translate it, right, you think it's a small amount of number, right? It's not small. It was elite money in 1857. See, the average annual wage of a white laborer was $300. Annual wage was $300 or $500. You know, a small farm cost $1,000 or $2,000. And a middle class home was $2,000. So $5,500 represents years, sometimes decades of accumulated wealth. And was equivalent to buying multiple houses, large tracts of productive land, or functioning business. Using, if you added that up now, that would be about, if you try to add it up to 2026, that's about $235,000 in 2026. That's how much 8 human beings cost. And that still underestimates the reality, because enslaved people were income producing assets, and they were treated like labor generators and collateral loans. You know, they appreciated in property, and they were inheritable. They were wealth. And these 8 enslaved people, especially, this is a whole family they sold, right? If you buy the whole family, then it's more likely people won't run away, because the husband's not going to want to run away from his wife, and the children are not going to want to run away from their mother and whatnot. Okay, but when modeled as productive assets, okay, again, they could have generated $500 to $1 million. Okay, you read? Can you read the language? This is FBA history. This is our history. I want you to read this language with me. If y'all can read it, let me know. Let's read the language. It said, sound and healthy in body and mind is livestock inspection language. Did y'all know that? Free from claim whatsoever is absolute title. Slaves for life is permanent legal status. See, this is property law, not morality. It's commercial law, not social custom. It's not jury, it's no defense, it's no citizenship, it's just paper. You understand me? I need you to understand that. Okay? You understand that? Now, something you all may know, something you all may not know, but and as I said, I'm going to share the good and the bad with you. George Washington Jones was my great-great-great-grandfather. Up through my grandmother's side, that lady that you see behind me, to my left, to your right, that was her great-great-grandfather. So that was my great-great-great-grandfather. Her mother was George Washington Jones Sr.'s granddaughter. I believe that's how it works. Her father was the King family. Washington King, all those people that I just named off. That was her great-grandfather. Washington, Mary, Frank was her daddy, actually. Frank James King. So that actually was her, golly, that was my grandmother's father, Frank James King. So that was her grandfather. So these are my relatives, and I can show you the paperwork of them being sold as chattel. So this is not just something theoretical that I'm talking to you all about. Again, this is the good and the bad. You understand? I got a little special treat for you guys. I'm gonna let y'all check this out, and then we're gonna get back to the regular broadcast. This is my great-great-great-great-grandfather. Take a listen. Good afternoon. I am Attorney George Washington Jones Sr. from the great state of Mississippi, now residing in the great state of Kansas, where I am a lawyer, an attorney at law, and have been for several decades now. I want to thank people for the time. All right. Of course, you guys know that's some AI rendition, but I thought it was pretty cool that I could be able to bring my great-grandfather alive, and I'm going to actually recreate one of his closing statements. But shout out to the ancestors. Now, again, family, you know, I don't like these people playing with our culture. I don't like these people disrespecting what we have going on. And so I want to I want to go ahead and take the opportunity, since we're talking about culture. All right. Since these people want to take over, I come from the belief that even if Africans did take over, even if Caribbeans did take over, they're not going to be able to deal with what we dealt with. Okay, because they don't have the culture. You understand? Let me say this plainly, because people love criticizing Black American culture. They love criticizing us while refusing to examine their own. If you want to talk about culture, then we need to be honest about what culture actually is and whether it works. Culture is not mainly, it's not about food, it's not about clothes or music or what you call tradition. Culture is a problem-solving system. It's a set of rules and procedures a people develop from their lived experiences to meet their needs. So what that means is you can't just come over to this country and fall into the culture because you don't have the lived experiences and you don't have the same needs. See, those rules are supported by the ideas and values, and together they guide how a people live. And the ultimate test of any culture is simple. Does it meet the needs of the people? And does it solve the problems confronting the people? If it does, right? Okay, guess what? If it does, great. If it doesn't, the culture needs to be transformed. And there's nothing sacred about holding on to a culture that can't keep you alive and protecting and trying to advance it. Now, culture is made up of historically, it's created, it designs for living. Okay, it provides guides for behavior. It tells people how to think, how to judge, how to act, and how to respond to the world around them. Culture is not just what you do on the outside. It is internal logic, and it drives behavior. It's a system that organizes life. Culture lives inside the mind just as much as it lives outside the body. It shapes how people process information and how they categorize reality and what they value and what they believe matters. So when a people are decultured, or when their culture is distorted, it's not just their music or rituals that are affected. Their thinking, their framework is affected. That distortion then shows up as so-called education problems, behavioral problems, attention problems, and identity problems. Those are not simply individual failures. They're downstream results of political power shaping cultural condition. And this is why culture is an instrument of power. Somebody type power in the chat room, okay? Whoever controls the culture standards and the models of success and the systems of reward and punishment controls what the next generation becomes. Culture sets the rules for what is praised and what is punished, what is normal and what is unacceptable. It determines how people relate to one another and how they cooperate and how they build institutions. Culture ultimately exists in the minds and bodies of the people. It can't exist outside of them, okay? Shout out to Red Sigma. It's a way of thinking, a way of seeing the world, a way of ordering reality. And because of that, culture must always be judged by outcomes. Somebody type outcomes in the chat room. Okay, it does not produce stability, continuity, protection to children, and advancement of the group into the next generation. And guess what? It doesn't work. No matter how old it is, no matter how emotionally people feel about it, no matter how loudly they defend it. Okay, so what I'm trying to explain to you all is this, okay? Culture is a system that includes language, it includes communication, it includes courtesy rituals, it includes roles, customs, relationships, practices, expected behaviors, rules, ways of thinking, manners, and how people interact with one another. Most importantly, culture is judged by outcomes. Somebody type outcomes in the chat room. And whether it protects the people, whether it preserves its children, whether it successfully carries its progeny into the next generation, stronger, safer, and more powerful than the last. By that standard, Many, if not all, of these African cultures, systems have failed. Since y'all want to talk about culture, come on in, immigrants. Come on in with your superior culture. I got that work for you. You failed during the transatlantic slave trade. Between 1500 and 1866, when African elites and kings and traders participated in the capture and sale of their own people, because we your own people now, right? Y'all wanted us to be African for the last 2.5 hours since I've been here. You didn't want us to delineate. So then don't turn around and tell me we're not the same people now. Either we gonna be the same people or we not gonna be the same people. But since you said we the same people, your kings and queens failed. They participated in the slave enslavement, capture, and selling of their own people. Rather than uniting and defending, and this wasn't an accident. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a series of political and economic decisions made repeatedly over centuries, prioritizing trade goods, weapons, and short-term wealth over the long-term survival of the African population. That failure permanently altered the global power relations and stripped Africa of millions of its strongest and best and brightest and most beautiful and most resilient and fantastic people it ever would have. And that's us. And that's not meant to be an insult. That's just historical fact. Those consequences shape the world. Now, they failed again, your culture that you're so proud of, that you want to impose on us. They failed during the colonial period, which is the late 1800s and the mid 1900s. It ain't last but like 50 or 60 years. They always talk about colonialism. It lasts like 50 or 60 years. That was one lifetime. You grew up free and you died free. But what happened? Because of internal divisions, it made conquest easier. That's your culture. These Europeans, you just had to deal with them during slavery. They exploited your tribal rivalries. They fractured your loyalties. You understand? By the time the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, African land was carved up without even African consent. They don't even care. They didn't care what you think, just like we don't care what you think. That's why you're irrelevant. Why would we want to align with a bunch of people that nobody respects? Nobody respects your continent, all of it. And why? Because you weren't unified politically or culturally, none of that. And let me tell you about your languages. You all are so proud. I speak 5 different languages. It all sounds like, you heard what the white man said, it sounds like boobity boobity boo. You heard what he said, right? That wasn't me saying that. Your languages, you speak so many, but you have failed linguistically. Why? Because despite the existence of hundreds of languages, no single African language has become dominant global language of diplomacy, of science, of finance, of military power. English is. You understand that? Language is not just about communication, it's about leverage. I'm gonna make them speak my language. It's the same thing the Haitians did to the Dominicans when they invaded the Dominican Republic. I talked about that last night. It's leverage. You're gonna make them speak our language. Just like when we came to the United States, they made us speak English. Cultures that fail to project language beyond their borders limit their influence. Meanwhile, Black Americans under slavery and segregation, we created cultural languages through music, speech, and expression that now dominate the global popular culture. Whether we talking about jazz, blues, hip hop, modern slang, they say our words everywhere. And let's talk about your failed values too, since we won't talk about culture. The failed values when loyalty to the tribe and the chief and the ruler repeatedly outweigh loyalty to the people as a whole. They failed in practices when corruption and patronage systems and internal exploitation became normalized across most of the so-called independent governments after the 1950s and 70s. This is after decolonization. Why you still blaming the decolonization and that was over darn near 100 years ago? Institutional independence came, but institutional discipline didn't. And so as a result, wealth extraction continued just under different management. That's it. That's your culture. And you want to talk about you failed at social order. And because conduct, instability, all that, you just horrible. Look at all the coups and the civil wars and internal conflicts. They became recurring patterns rather than exceptions. Nigeria, civil war between 1967 and 1970. Ongoing conflicts in the Congo since the 1960s. They've been fighting each other for 70 years. Somalia is just a failed state after 1990 with Sudan and Libya. Look, 2011, countless others. Look, the CIA if one man, 2 or 3 men can come over there and destabilize your country for 50 years, it was sitting on a house. It was a house of cards in the first place. I'm just saying. Okay, we dealing with Donald Trump right now. Donald Trump is a wrecking ball, and we are still paying our taxes and going to the store and buying gas and doing whatever we do. You understand what I'm saying? That's a strong system. And you failed in your family roles too, since you want to come bring your little African family roles over here. You failed in your roles of struggle. Look here. Take a little bit of this water. Look, let me, I want y'all to understand something, okay? Whether you talk about patriarchy or matriarchy, that unresolved tension left generations without stable frameworks for governance, family continuity, social, customs, all of that is trash. It no longer serves survival in the modern world. All of that traditional African is not competitive on the global system. They half these Africans are tired of sending y'all money home. If the Africans are here, y'all are tired of sending your broke cousin paying school fees. I already know. I heard you. You're tired of it. That's why you fled in the first place. Half of y'all fled to get away from war. The other half fled to get away from your begging family members. You have failed relationally across the diaspora. Even today, African nations struggle to cooperate economically with each other. Y'all neighbors. You talk about Pan-African unity, but you can't unify with the neighbors. The Nigerians is fighting with the South Africans because they trying to take their spot. Conflict between nations, ethnic groups, and factions remain common, a culture that is consistently at war with itself. You can't build durable power like that. You have a long record of failure. You see what happened when these African leaders came to the White House? You see how Donald Trump treated to call their country shithole countries in their face? Yeah, I get it. The comment was rude, it was disrespectful, it was offensive, but it did not emerge from thin air. It reflects how African nations are perceived globally. Everybody thinks you all have shithole countries. And this is who you want Black Americans to unify with? I mean, let's just be honest. You all are straight up dysfunctional over there. You call us slaves. Yeah, okay, you can call us Akatas, but we don't need to say anything. The rest of the world is telling you who you are. That's how the world works, whether you like it or not. And see, here's the most important point. Culture is not judged by intention or what you want to do or what you try to do. It's judged by results. The ultimate purpose of culture is to ensure that children live better than their parents, that families are protected, and that the next generation advances. If a culture system repeatedly fails and fails and fails across centuries and more time, it must be questioned. And then it needs to be transformed. Black American culture was forged in slavery. It was forged in terror. It was forged in exclusion and a constant attack, yet it adapted. It evolved, it absorbed, new ideas. It protected lineage. It produced global influence. It produced innovation, military service, economic contribution, cultural dominance. That is what a functional culture does. It survives. So you all criticizing Black American culture while refusing to examine the failed culture systems that you come from, that's not honesty, that's deflection. In fact, that is projection. And if this conversation is going to be real, it must be about what works and what doesn't work and why. Culture is not some sacred thing that you just hold on to it because it's old. Culture exists to serve the people, not the other way around. And any culture that can't protect its future, it must be willing to face the truth. You understand me? Now, I want to run something back by y'all. This cat, the little brother here with the funny hat on, was talking about FBA. He mentioned communal. Somebody type communal in the chat room. Let me explain to y'all what communal is. Communal means, I'm an African, we share everything, we do what's in the best interest of the group. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all have heard that before. They always try to say, well, you need all to be more communal. That's what this whole Pan-African hustle is about. And I said it's a hustle. It's them trying to get us for our resources. And if y'all stupid enough to fall for it, you go right on ahead. Many immigrant cultures are communal. They teach sacrifice of the individual for the group. And it sounds noble, but it's dangerous. Let me let you hear what this little Asian man says. So you don't believe me. I'm gonna let you hear what the little Asian man says. I know y'all will believe him. Y'all don't believe Uncle D. Y'all can't learn from me, but you can learn from these other folks. Listen to what he has to say. And hit the #1 button if you can hear.
He would say, can you imagine being in the United States for 4, 5, 6 generations of your family and still having nothing to show for it? And he would say that this is the key to being an immigrant family in the United States, is that the immigrant comes to a country like the US with one thing on their mind for one single purpose. It's to come here to seek a better life for themselves and for the future generations of their family. So you will go all in. They will go all in to do anything, to make any sacrifice, to get up, pluck up their lives, sell different things, sell houses and businesses and whatever they have, or just leave their family and hometown and all of these things and go to a completely different country, learn a new language, learn a new culture, be subject to criticism, racism, whatever it is, just for the sake of their children having a better life than themselves. And when you have that built in, you understand that what you are doing is a continuation of the effort of the last generation. But then you come into mentalities like this where people say, no, I want to do it on my own. No, I want to start from scratch and do absolutely everything on my own. Just to prove some kind of point? Is it prove it to yourself, to your parents, to what? I'm not saying that you should be entitled or spoiled or anything like that, but can you imagine how much more you could do if you understood that you are a part of a generational call to stewardship, to take what the last generation did, use it as a foundation, as the base to do even more than they did in their lifetime, to go to even greater things and be even more successful. But apparently it's some kind of mark of pride to say, no thanks, I don't want anything that you've done. I want to start from zero. The opposite of generational wealth.
No, that's not the opposite of generational wealth. That's the American spirit. And so that's the difference between these old world countries, Africa included, and what we do over here in the United States. Let me see if I want to try to help y'all understand something. So many immigrant cultures are communal. They teach sacrifice of the individual for the group. All right. And that sounds noble, right? Doesn't that sound great? Yeah, sacrifice for the group. Have y'all ever worked in a group? How many of y'all have ever worked in a group? What have you noticed about group work? What I've noticed about group work is this: when you work in a group, one person ends up doing all the work. One person ends up doing all the work, and other people sit back and let you do the work. Somebody type school fees in the chat room. When I was doing that rant, I kind of explained a little bit about how these Africans are tired of them school fees. Somebody type school fees in the chat room. They got to pay for their aunties' son's school fees. They're tired of that. They're tired of building houses for the family. Okay? So again, Many of these, that's what all that money is going back. You know, Nigeria and Jamaica are number 1 and 2 for sending money home. School fees. Right? It teaches you to sacrifice the individual for the group. And again, that sounds noble, but it's dangerous. That mindset is one of the reasons slavery lasted for centuries and still exists in parts of Africa today. Because see, when the king and the chief or the elder speaks for everybody, the individual is never safe. The children are never safe. The future is never safe. Black American culture rejected that model because it would have killed us. We couldn't afford wars of attrition. We could not sacrifice an individual hoping that the group would survive. We fought until everybody was safe or nobody was. And that's why we unify quickly on race issues, because we know how serious this they can get. And that's why them white folk don't mess with us. Again, that's why we resist replacement. That's why we defend lineage. That African culture will fail in this country. I understand why you would want me, why they would want to be foundational Black American. It works here. It produces more power here. It survives here. I understand why they want our culture, but wanting it does not make it yours. You can't import a culture that took 400 plus years of pressure to forge. Did you see I got slaves in my family? What do you think my great granddaddy had to do to go from slavery to be a lawyer and be that well-spoken and articulate, while still getting ran out of Mississippi by the Klan because he's doing a good job? Are you serious? I'm looking at my whole family being sold. You understand that? And look how successful. They're looking at their grandson. They're looking at their great-great-great-grandson from the ancestral plane. And they said, that's my son. That's ours. That's what they sacrificed for. I didn't flee. I didn't run away. I'm still here. You understand what I'm saying? I keep a picture of my grandmama right behind me so she can see that what I'm doing. That's her right over there. That's George Washington Jones' great-great-great-granddaughter. And that's great-grandpa King's, that's his great-great-granddaughter. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm her grandson. Yallowbush of Mississippi, right here in the house. You understand what I'm saying? You can't steal that. You can't steal that identity. You can't replace that. You can't steal that culture. And you can't steal that track record of success. I'm built for this. We were made here. Your culture, you all's culture that you trying to, what you gonna do when you take it? If you had to walk in the shoes of foundational Black Americans, your ankles would crumble. Nothing you have works here in the environment. It does not work. And that's why you fled your home countries in the first place. We didn't flee, we endured, we adapted, we built. Now you can live among us and you can respect us, but you can never be us. And that's the truth, and it's not negotiable. Now, let me explain too. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Are y'all learning something? I'm gonna give you that smoke. Look here. Foundational Black American culture succeeded where others collapsed because it was forged under the most hostile conditions imaginable, and it adapted instead of breaking. We didn't inherit land. We didn't inherit armies or wealth or institutions. We were outnumbered, outgunned, enslaved, and legally excluded, yet we survived, consolidated, and advanced against all odds. And let me be clear about the outcome. Black Americans represent roughly 2% of the global African diaspora, yet we are the richest group of Africans on this planet, or people of African descent. We're the most culturally influential. We're the most globally recognizable people of African descent on this planet. When they talk about Black, they talk about us when it comes to success. Again, let me reemphasize, we're the richest group of Black people on this planet, on the whole earth, in aggregated wealth. We're the most famous. everybody knows us. Meanwhile, the entire continents with sovereignty. I'm talking about Africa. The entire continent has sovereignty, borders, armies, and failed to produce the comparable global influence and outcomes matter. Somebody type outcomes matter. And that's not accidental. It's the culture. You see? It's the culture. It's our culture. You can't replace that. Now, again, there's 13 cultural metrics. Did y'all know Uncle D knew all this stuff, baby? Y'all didn't know that. I know y'all didn't. I know. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to give it. Y'all going to learn something tonight. I'm going to do my best, man. I try to give y'all that smoke. I wasn't feeling good when I first got here, man. I was a little tired. I'm like, I ain't want to do that. It's getting a little late. I'm like, man, I usually start a little early. But I'm like, no, let me go ahead and get these people this what they need. I'm going to do it as long as I can, man. Yeah, man. I had to move with the spirit. You understand what I mean? I be having long days practicing law. I got a lot of work. I got a bunch of cases in litigation, man. I should be curled up with my wife somewhere instead of fooling with y'all, man. But I love y'all. I do. I love y'all. I do. I truly love doing what I do. It's inspirational to me. It feels good. Somebody type "feel good" in the chat room. You know, my grandmama's daddy was a preacher. Grandmama's daddy was a preacher. His name was Frank James King. He was a pastor in Mississippi, in Grenada, Mississippi. If you go up there right now, the King family, they still have land up there. And the thing about Mississippi is close to Memphis, so they call it what they call it, Mississippi. Yeah, man. I love my people. I want to see y'all win. Just like my great-great-granddaddy. And the crazy part is, my Uncle Robert told me he was born on my birthday. The official records say he was born on April 15th, 1857, but he was actually born on April 18th, 1857. And my birthday is April 18th, 1974. So we actually have the very same birthday. Isn't that something? And I didn't know anything about this man till this white woman called me from Kansas. She was a judge. She sent me an email. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm not licensed over there. I'm not supposed to appear in you. She said, no, I'm calling you about your great-great-great-great-grandfather. I'm like, what? And so come to find out, I got this famous Black attorney, great-great-grand. It just as recently I just found out. This is like 3-4 years ago. They wrote an article about it in the Kansas lawyer publication. And you know, I'm just a great honor, you know. It's a great honor to have an ancestor like that. People like Booker T. Washington, he trained the next group of Black attorneys who helped push civil rights. Remember, he died at like 54, a couple of years older than I am. He was defending the client. He just died. You know, he had some, you know, people died young back then, you know. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I feel good at what I'm doing. This is part of my legacy. This is as important to me as my practice of law and my living legacy, my children, because this is you all get a chance to talk to me, you know. Can y'all still hear me? Hit the #1 button if you can hear me clearly. Somebody said there's no sound. Y'all can't hear me? I've been talking this long. Y'all couldn't hear nothing I said? Somebody said we can hear you. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to it. Let's talk about our culture. I want you all to clip this part. I want you to clip this part because they always tell us we don't have culture. I want you all to clip this part. This is free. Feel free to dissect it, break it down. This is for posterity. You can have this. I want you to clip this part. The 13 cultural metrics, why foundational Black American culture works, why the American Negro culture works, why the Solon culture works, why the Freedman culture works. 13 metrics. So we're going to go through all 13 of them. You're going to learn something. I'm going to bring it home and I'm going to let y'all go for the evening. Class will be over. Black Americans took the dominant language because language is part of the culture. It's one of the 13 cultural metrics. Language. Somebody type #1. Language. Black Americans took the dominant language, English, which was forced on us, and we reshaped it into a weapon and a shield. A weapon to pierce and a shield to protect. We infuse English with rhythm, double meaning, tone, humor, warning, coded intelligence, so we could speak in front of our enemies without being fully understood by them. Now, you might be out in the field, and somebody, the overseer is sitting up there right behind you, and you gave somebody a look. You understand me? And that meant a whole lot. You understand me? I can say right now, I can say, all right. I can say, all right. And everybody in this chat room know just what I said, all right. Oh, and if I say, all right, what does that mean? If I say, all right, that's different from, all right, or all right. 3 different meanings right there. Now, if I say we good, what does that mean? It probably means, oh, we good. That means we ain't good. It's a different. What if I say, yeah, we good, we good. That's the difference between we good. That ain't, you better not turn your back. And if I say, all right, we good, that means a lot. You understand what I'm saying? I can say that 10 different ways, and only Black Americans who understand the culture would get that. You would not get that in 100 years. You understand me? And so what we did with our language is we solved a real problem. We were surrounded, we were monitored and punished for honesty. Language became survival. And that's why Black American speech travels globally, because it was engineered under pressure to carry meaning, warning, and humanity at the same time. They would whoop you, they would give you 50 lashes for stealing an egg. You understand me? Shout out to B Hunter. They would beat you, they would cut your foot off for not coming home on time. They would do all sorts of stuff to you. You understand me? Number 1, language. Number 2, communication. See, mass communication was not optional for us. It was life or death. We were smothered inside of a hostile society that called us animals and treated us like savages. We had to let the world know we were here. We were alive, we were thinking, we were feeling human beings. Because they did their best to dehumanize us. Remember, we were considered chattel. Chattel is a damn cow, a horse or something like that. So we had to let the world know we were human. What do? We did it through our music. We did it through sermons. We did it through blues. We did it through jazz. We did it through soul. And later, hip hop became global broadcast. Our existence around the world. Why? Because we were in that pressure cooker. They wasn't in no pressure cooker for that 50 years they had to go through colonialization and that ain't even long enough. That's not even a generation. They keep comparing colonization with what we had to deal with in chattel slavery, 406 years. Tell them to stop it. Because if you had to go through what we went through and you were as resilient as we were, then guess what? You would have came up with your own version of hip hop and soul music and blues and jazz. Instead, what you do is you try to steal ours and say, oh yeah, this is just a derivative of some sort of African drum beat or something like that. That's a damn lie. Soul music demonstrated to the world our godly nature when the world wanted to demonize us. And so communication became proof of our humanity. Now, what about manners? Number 3, manners. Respect is very important to Black Americans. Respect. We lived in a world that denied us dignity on a daily basis. So manners were not about politeness for politeness' sake. They were about mutual recognition and safety. On the other thing, if you was disrespectful to a white man, you could lose your life. You could be beaten in the street. So we learn not to step on anybody's toes. We learn not to step on each other's boundaries because we needed each other. And here's another thing. We had to be courteous with each other because courtesy prevented internal conflict in an environment where outside violence was constant. We don't need to be fighting with each other, so we had to respect each other. And this is why Black Americans have a warm, gracious, inviting, and we quick to show respect, and it keeps the group intact. Now, here's another thing we did. Because we had to deal with so much disrespect, are you learning something? Because we had to deal with so much disrespect, we practiced disrespecting each other. Your mama so fat. your mama so fat, she jump off the curb and commit unalivement. Let me get some more. I can't remember all them little schoolyard. We practiced disrespect on each other so we could be inoculated to the disrespect that society gave us, because if we jump bad on somebody, especially if they were white or a police officer, they would take our life. So we, as we say, they say down south, we capped on each other. Out west, they call it bagging. I think them boys on the East Coast, what do they call it? They yawning each other. I forget. I don't know. Playing the dozens. This is what we did. This is part of our culture. We capped on each other. We roasted each other. That's why Black comedians were so brilliant. Did you all know that the first comedian in America, first stand-up comic, was a half Black man? Damn, I didn't know that. It makes sense. Crowd work. That's what we did. This is part of our culture, capping on each other, roasting each other, so we could be inoculated to the disrespect, because if you jump bad on a white man, they would come back and they would unalive your whole family. They call it, my Uncle Robert said they call it culling the bad blood. Culling the bad blood. They would unalive your whole family would disappear. So you had to control yourself, no matter how bad you was treated. Now, of course, we jumped bad on a couple of them, but it is what it is. Okay? Sometimes you can't hold it in. You do what you got to do. But bottom line is, so even in our manners, we had to practice that. We had to constantly drill each other. So when these Africans talk about, oh, man, they call us African booty scratchers. So that's part of the culture. We getting you ready for the disrespect that you're going to deal with, so they don't mistake us for you after you jump bad and then you take your butt back to whatever country you came from and we left here to deal with it. We were doing you a favor by getting you ready for the disrespect you was going to have to deal with while sitting in your Black skin here in the United States, and you didn't appreciate it, with your selfish selves. You lucky we called you African booty scratchers. Hell, we called each other African booty scratchers, and a whole lot worse. Everybody in here got a elementary school nickname. Big head, peanut. Everybody in here got a peanut. Peanut. If I say peanut, you thinking about somebody right now. Peanut, big head, man. Who else? Lil man. It is what it is. Referring to people by how they look: Fat Ron, Slim, Skinny Keisha, Fat Keisha, Bald Head Keisha, No Edges Keisha, Stanky Jamal, right? It's what it is, baby. It is what your mama jokes. And you know, you love your mama, man. And we roasted each other because we had to get, that's part of our culture, man. And I don't think people understand that. You know, everybody name your childhood name that they called you when you was a kid, family. Everybody name somebody said they called me Liver Lips, Ashy Larry. Oh man, football head. Oh man. It is what, and if you are outside looking in, you be like, oh my God, they're so cruel to each other. Bucktooth. Oh my God, that was common, right? But anyway, yeah, that's number 3. That's manners. And it's like, that's manners. Some hell of a man. Yeah, we was developed under pressure. Big lip Bobby. Yeah, man. That's what we do. Everybody got capped on and roasted. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, thoughts, thinking forward, framework. Let's move on. Number 4, thoughts. We developed a sharp, linear, strategic thinking because guessing wrong could get you unalive. We had to read the room. We had to read people. We had to read laws. We had to read danger in real time, and this wasn't philosophical, it was practical. You see what I'm saying? Fatalism would have destroyed us. Authority worship would have destroyed us. Independent thinking is what kept us alive. So we knew how to ignore master and the police and our boss. You understand? It is what it is. This is how we survive. Just like somebody used to sneak you some extra fries when they was working, your cousin got that job working at McDonald's, right? You also had people that had this, you was locked down, they gave you an extra apple or something like that so you can live. This is part of our culture. You may not like it, but if black people, you'll notice if black people like you, they'll give you the hookup. We've been giving each other the hookup since slavery time. We've been sneaking food out the back door since slavery time. This is what we did. Y'all still, somebody said bird legs. Oh, y'all crazy. And then the other thing, our value system. Right? Our core value was not the collective at any cost. We didn't do that. Okay? We didn't do that. You understand? We didn't do that. It was the individual collective, meaning no one gets sacrificed so the rest can survive. Either we all make it or none of us make it. And we learned very early that leaders could be bought, killed, or turned, so blind loyalty was dangerous. We were suspicious. Somebody typed suspicious in the chat, but we were suspicious. Our loyalty stayed horizontal, not vertical. You understand? And that's why Black Americans resisted slavery. We resisted Jim Crow, we resisted segregation, and we resisted cultural erasure. Traditional communalism, right? It failed because it allowed half the tribe to be sold while the other half survived. We rejected that logic. We value each other more than titles, more than chiefs, and more than kings. That's why we ain't killing ourselves because we ain't got no money. It's kind of bad sometimes. Like, hey, you lose your job, you lose your fortune, you know, light-skinned people get to jumping out the window on Wall Street. Black people like, all right, let me get some grits. We'll get something, we'll figure out something. You understand what I'm saying? Values are not what everybody else's values are because we truly know what's important. That's why despite the fact that you have so many Black men and Black women who are not married, Black men are the most involved fathers of every other group. That's cultural. Now, living under the constant surveillance, expected behaviors, number 6. What could your expected behaviors be living under constant surveillance and forced discipline? Even now, we learn when to be quiet and when to speak and when to move and when to stand still. And as you can recognize right now, we are resting. We are standing still. You understand? When to speak, when to move, when to be still. That's good discernment. And expected behaviors weren't moral lectures. They were survival protocols, cultures that assume authority, okay, will protect them. They collapse when authority is hostile. You see, we never made that mistake. See, we don't assume authority will protect us. We don't assume the chief is going to do it. We good. We got ourselves. That's why we're not worried about what Donald Trump is doing. We ain't worried about that. Other thing, practices, your cultural practices. Our daily practices focus on adaptability, hustling, improvising, navigating hostile legal systems, building parallel economies, and creating culture even when barred from institutions. I want y'all to understand something. Segregation was not a good thing for us. We did good under, we did better under, we were poor people. Segregation was meant to starve us out. I want you to understand the genius of Black Americans. Segregation was meant to starve us out, keep us isolated in the worst part of town. And they did that, and we built it up and developed it to the point that white folk was jealous of us and had to come over there and burn it. I can't believe we put them in the damn swamp. And they went on over there and built all that beautiful stuff. It looked better than ours. You understand me? We weren't supposed to survive segregation and Jim Crow. And yet we found a way to make it work. That is the beauty and amazement of Black Americans. That's why we tell these Africans and these Caribbeans all the time, if we had our own land, it would be no stopping us. But unfortunately, we build things up. We get it looking good, and next thing you know, white folk come and want to knock it down. We got to rebuild it again. That's what set us back. You understand? You understand what I mean? That's who we are. That's how resilient we are. We practice self-reliance inside a collective struggle. That's us. Now, as far as relationships, this would be number 8. We're forged through shared danger. Trust was built through action, not lineage or tribe. Just because you from my tribe don't mean I trust you. Hell, just because you a family member don't mean I trust you. I want to see what you do. It don't matter what tribe you from. No matter what your lineage, just because you y'all got something different going on. That is not how we do it. See, we couldn't afford fragmentation. We bonded fast because hesitation meant death. That's why Black Americans can form instant solidarity around threats. You understand what I'm saying? Our culture trained us to recognize danger collectively. When you see a black man walk, I'm not talking about every black man, and I can tell you if I see another brother walking down the street and I give him that head nod, it's all good. We good. I go to some of these jiu-jitsu competitions all the time, and sometimes I even go to my own little studio, and it'd be just one black man in there that's a foundational Black American brother. I give him that head nod. We don't even have to know each other's name, but we know we got each other's back. I got his. When I do that sometimes to immigrants, they don't even get it because they don't recognize that. That's an acknowledgement. Happens all the time, 1 million times a year amongst black men when we see each other and we recognize we're in hostile places. That's the relationship that we have. Our culture has trained us to recognize that. The other thing is customs. We abandoned customs that got us unalive, period. Anything that didn't serve survival was discarded. That if it wasn't flexible, it's not here. See, tradition without adaptation would have wiped us out. Our customs evolved because the environment demanded it. You understand? Are y'all learning something? Are you learning something? I know it's a little late. I got a little bit more to say, and I'm gonna get out of here. But roles became functional, not ceremonial. Okay, you were the father, but you wasn't playing the father role. You couldn't play the father role. Guess what? Mom had to play the father role. Uncle had to play the father role. Grandma had to play the father role. Whoever could protect, lead, and provide or organize, step forward. Now, we have had some great leaders in the past try to explain to us why black women have had to become so masculine, but they never actually broke it down like this from a cultural standpoint. They had to play a role because guess what? Culture solves problems. Somebody type solve problems in the chat room. It had to solve problems. Whoever could protect, whoever could lead, whoever could provide, whoever can organize and step forward, they did what they did. Patriarchy, matriarchy, all those debates were settled by necessity. Hunger, violence, and survival don't care about ideology. Function beat theory every time. This is how we survive. We had to solve problems. Do you understand? Or what they say? Do you overstand? Do you overstand? I don't know the difference, but do you get it? Are you feeling what I'm saying? You understand? Roles. If you got a designated role and it's not helping your family survive, then guess what? That role is just perfunctory. It's not functional. It's ceremonial. Whoever can fill those shoes need to walk in them. Now, rituals. We rejected rigid hierarchy because hierarchy was unstable. People were unalived, leaders got sold, families were separated, elders were lynched. Rituals tied to fixed authority didn't work. Our rituals centered on remembrance and resistance and faith and forward and motion, not obedience. You see what I'm saying? We didn't have all them rituals. The king, the chief is gone. All hail the queen, all hail the chieftain. You see? All hail the prince. And another thing, courtesies. Courtesy was not weakness, it's mutual defense. Respect kept peace inside the group so we could focus on outward. We learned to be careful with each other's dignity because offense created fractures and we couldn't afford it. That's why Black Americans are careful and we respect them and we're protective of each other's space. And you can see things escalate real quick when somebody get out of pocket. That's why you have some of them family fights. Okay, that's people get a little tipsy and they had them family discourteous. We'll tell you all the time, you're disrespectful, you're discourteous. Again, we expect courtesy because we very courteous. That's why when we go all the way around the world, nobody has a problem with us. They're not saying those Black Americans come to Europe and they're horrible. No, they say, thank God for those GIs. Thank God for those Black Americans. We love them. You can send them back. And that's why you got Africans cosplaying foundational Black Americans so that they can get better treatment. Now, another thing, we master communication. Communication is not always language. Most of those great artists you know spoke broken English. I've yet to hear a famous Black artist or just speak the King's English. They don't do it. It doesn't work like that. That's why those British actors, they take our American lingo and they change it up to try to sound like foundational Black America. What's that man, Idris Elba? Nobody knew this dude was from the UK. We thought this dude was from Baltimore or something like that. You understand? So communication is not necessarily about whether or not you speaks the King's English or not. It's about whether or not you can communicate. If the world didn't hear us, right, they could pretend we didn't exist. Music, protests, storytelling, media, culture became our megaphones announcing our humanity. That's why the smallest population in the diaspora became the loudest voice. We had to be heard or we would have been erased. And our culture did that for us. Did y'all understand what I'm saying? Are y'all with me? Am I wasting y'all's time? Let me know. Let me know. I don't want to waste your time, baby. Okay? I don't want to waste your time. All right? I got a little bit more, and then we're going to ease up out of here, man. I know we're going to get out of here before the 4th hour. I'm trying to get out in the next few minutes. Now, look, here's the thing. I need you all to understand something, man. I want y'all to feel me. Look. Come on in here. Well, y'all still with me? Come on in here. Okay? Now, Black Americans are not a diaspora group. We are not a diaspora group. I know it sounds good, but Black Americans are not a floating diaspora with no roots. We're not guests here in the United States, okay? We are not guests here in the United States. We're not visitors. We're not an extension of someone else's nation. We're people formed here on this soil through centuries of forced labor, resistance, adaptation, and survival. Our language, our culture, our humor, our music, our legal battles, our political consciousness, and our survival strategies were all created inside the United States. We are not an offshoot branch of Africa. We are an entirely new people. Diaspora groups come from somewhere else and maintain cultural, political, and emotional ties to a homeland outside of the country they live in. Black Americans do not have a homeland outside of the United States. Africa is an ancestral origin, not a homeland. Jamaica is not our homeland. Haiti is not our homeland. America is the homeland. And that fact makes people deeply uncomfortable, but discomfort does not change reality. And here's the key difference. The people refuse to face. We were formed in our homeland while being surrounded by people who were actively trying to destroy us. That's historical, okay? But it's also continuous, from slavery to Jim Crow to redlining to mass incarceration to political sabotage to economic exclusion. The pressure never stopped. We've never allowed to retreat. We've never allowed to regroup somewhere else. We had to survive, and we had to build, and we had to evolve inside enemy territory. And this is why our culture is different. That's why our mindset is different. That's why our values are different. By the 1950s and 60s, Black Americans had become too powerful, too unified, and too influential. We had organized nationally. We were working on internationally. We had challenged the legitimacy of the state. We forced legal change. We turned America upside down. Whether we talking about the Montgomery bus boycott, the civil rights movement, Black Power, We showed what happened when people formed under pressure, moved in unison. Somebody typed pressure in the chat room. It scared the system. So the response was this. It was dilution. They diluted us. They couldn't crush us outright, so they chopped us up, man. They fragmented us, man. They diluted us, man. That definition of black. They opened the door up in 1965 and flooded the neighborhood and flooded the community with immigrants. They flooded the community with a category of people who didn't share our history or our political demands or our cultural instincts. They cut the potency of that thing, man. They stepped on it, man. They put baking soda in it, man. They weakened the mixture. Okay, and many Africans and Caribbeans, they fell for it. You understand? You were brought in not as allies, but as buffers, as replacements, as confusion. It was as a way to blunt the force of the people who had learned how to fight the system from inside. Damn. That wasn't supposed to happen. We were slaves. Y'all heard the story of a black man who went from a slave to being one of the most prominent lawyers in the country. We wasn't supposed to do that. They told them people they were the same as us. They told them they could speak like us. Matter of fact, they invited them to step in the slots of our programs and our narratives. And to many, they just accepted the role without asking why. Trying to fold Black Americans into this global African identity is not about unity, it's about erasure. It turns us into a resource instead of a people. It allows our political claims to be diluted, our reparative claims for reparations to be denied, and our cultural ownership to be stolen again. And once again, everybody benefits from this confusion except Black Americans. We are not a diaspora group. We are not interchangeable. We are not replaceable. We are a people forged here in our homeland under constant attack, and we still standing. You can't claim our struggle because you didn't suffer it. And pain doesn't transfer. History doesn't transfer. You can't move to this country in the 1980s and the 1990s or the 2000s and then claim victories that were paid for by my people who survived slavery. I got names. You hear the name? George Washington Jones Sr. Eliza, his mama. You understand? Jim Crow, my grandmama. Elmira King. Williams. Shout out to Alabama Clay Child. You can't claim those victories. Those that belong to us. Those wins weren't free. They were bought by blood and time and broken families and lost lives by foundational Black Americans. You don't get to skip the cost and still claim the reward. When immigrants attach themselves to Black American struggle, they gain access to sympathy, programs, protection, and influence that weren't built for them. That's not solidarity. That is theft. That is identity theft. Let's call it what it is. Real solidarity respects boundaries. Real solidarity tells the truth about differences. It does not pretend everyone is the same just to gain something. And there's a clear difference between solidarity and identity theft. Solidarity means standing with someone while still respecting who they are. Identity theft means pretending you're the same as them in order to benefit. Black Americans have always been open to solidarity. We good with that. But we reject replacement. And we reject, let me tell you this, what we reject is being spoken for, okay? We reject being overridden and we reject being erased. You can support Black Americans without claiming to be Black American. You can respect Black American history without rewriting it. The moment someone insists on being included against our will, that is no longer unity, that is domination. And let's be honest about selective unity. Unity is only demanded when Black Americans are doing well. Nobody rushes in to claim us doing mass incarceration. They wasn't coming over here from Africa to jump in before 1865 to be slaves. You understand me? They didn't want to jump in when 60% of us were in poverty in the 1960s. Let me tell y'all something. Don't you ever let these people tell you that we haven't built anything in the past 60 years or since 1965. In 1965, 60% of Black people live below the poverty line. Now in 2026, 17% of Black people live below the poverty line. What that means is about 83% of Black people, or 83% of Black people are living above the poverty line. We was a poor people back then. So what is that? That translates to the fact that when somebody asks, what have Black people built since 1965? A lot of wealth. That's what we built. We made some money. That's what we did. You understand? See, these people show up now because of the influence that we have and because our culture is valuable. Suddenly, everybody wants to be connected. That's not unity, that's opportunism. See, real unity shares risk, not just reward. Black Americans learn this the hard way. We learn who shows up and when things are dangerous and who only shows up when things are profitable. Again, you can stand with us, you can respect us, but you will not replace us. And you cannot claim a struggle you never lived. And let me tell you something else. Stop pretending to be us. Let me just go ahead and lay it out flat like that. Pretending we all the same. That's dangerous. And people know exactly what you're doing. They know what you're doing when you play dumb. Everybody can tell the difference between a Black American and an African immigrant. And the accent is different. The culture is different. You what the police did, get your black butt out of that car. Are you illegal? Illegal? No, you're not. Culture is different. Y'all talk different, even when you speak English. I can listen to a person and tell if they're foundational Black American or not, no matter how much they try to fake it out. You can't fake that. These people listen to me. They can hear my voice. I sound like their uncle, their granddaddy. I sound like they people from way back down south. And the only reason I sound like that, having spent most of my time growing up in LA and Texas, because my people was from Mississippi. So this is why I sound like this. Sound country as a brown egg. Your behavior is different. The social rules are different. Pretending not to see that difference is not ignorance, it's strategy. And that strategy lets people move back and forth when it benefits them. And when Black Americans are being disrespected, suddenly, we all the same. When Black Americans succeed, suddenly the credit belongs to someone else. That game is only works if Black Americans allow y'all to keep doing it. And now we saying, no, we're gonna delineate. You see? There's a real reason that Black American success is always questioned. Okay? Or it's claimed by others when we succeed. Success brings power. Power brings a voice, and strong Black American voice disrupts the balance of this country. And that's why our success is never allowed to stand on its own. Someone always tries to catch on to it. Okay? They always do. They always try to explain it away or dilute it. You got a bunch of immigrants who swear up and down they're doing better in Black America than Black America. We do better than you. You all are the most highly educated yet underpaid group of immigrants in this country. And I'm talking directly to the Africans. You are the most you have more degrees, yet as far as immigrants, you are the most underpaid of all under the Asians, under the Indians, under the white folk. You're under everybody. So you're still dealing with racial bigotry. And when you compare your top 10% to foundational Black Americans' top 10%, we blow y'all out the water. That's what you need to understand. The average top 10% African immigrant makes around $100,000. The average Caribbean makes somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000. This is their top 10%. Our top 10% is making well up into the hundreds and the millions. When you compare the top 10% of Africans to the top 10% of foundational Black Americans, we blow them out the water, period. More land, more political, more influence, more social influence, more money, more infrastructure. We got it all. Yet they swear up and down, oh, we come to this country and we work harder. Somebody type work harder. We come to this country, we work harder than y'all. Nope. No, you don't. You compare yourself to poor Black people in the ghetto where you grew up at when you got here, where you came. That's what you compare yourself to. You see? That's what you're doing. But again, we're done pretending. We're done blurring lines and trying to make others comfortable. Black Americans know who we are, and pretending we are all the same is no longer an option. Now, I'm gonna cut this thing a little short. I want to make sure I read all the super chats. We got 22 super chats. We did all right. We did all right tonight. Yeah, buddy. I wasn't in here. Y'all learned something tonight. It took 3 hours and 32 minutes. Maybe we'll get 25 super chats before it's over. I want to take the opportunity to thank all the people who contributed to the super chat, the Cash App. Okay, we still going. The money is snowing. All right. I was all about to say something, raunchy, but I didn't. I ain't say it. I was about to say something raunchy, but I ain't say it. Let's go ahead and thank all the people who contribute to the Cash App. Let me see who I got here. Let me see. I have Juanita Walker. Thank you, baby. She said, I enjoy you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, baby. Richard Pettigrew. You got one of the rich people named Pettigrew. You went to a private school. Richard, thank you, Richard. Thank you for the super Cash App. Patricia Hightower, thank you so much, baby. She said, thank you, Uncle D. Thank you. Robert Johnson, Black last name points. Thank you so much, family. Let me see what he said. Points to our stolen inheritance. Yes, they do. I talked about that before. Black immigrant identity. Thank you so much, Leon Briscoe. And my man Tags James said, can't super chat for some reason. And who else we got? Great point, fixing Black culture too. Thank you so much, family. Who else we got up in here? Denise Learn, Denise Worsham, Norman Washington. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. We got 23 super chats. Let me read all these super chats. We got a lot. I'm gonna read from the bottom. I think the bottom is better. I listen to your podcast all the time, but this one is fire. Much love, respect. I ain't even want to do it. I was tired. You understand me? Yeah, I was tired. I'm tired now. You know what I'm saying? But it's Black History Month, so I got to give y'all some Black history. I'm going to try to make it interesting for you. Thank you so much, Janet Gaines. Who else we got? 5 Kane, what happened to us was ethnogenesis. Thank you so much. That's a very great observation. Alabama Claychild, thank you, Uncle D, for always making it plain. That's what I do the best, man. I make it plain. Who else we got? Alabama Child B1. To the FBA family in the chat, grateful to hear this sermon and spend this time together. Thank you all so much. I mean, they're trying to remove Black history from the schools and everywhere else. So guess what? All that's going to do is make us do what we do. If you don't give it to us, we're going to give it to ourselves because this is what we want to consume. So I hope that we can stop, on the internet. Okay. I hope everybody on the internet, I hope we can stop fighting with each other and really, give the people what they need. I know we enjoy, talking stuff, but there are people with much larger channels in mind that can do a lot more work. And I hope they pivot, and recognize that the direction that they're heading is really just headed towards self-destruction, in my humble and loving and appreciative opinion. And I support all the people talking. I want to see these Black voices speak, but I just hope, and I just, I hope you all practice some restraint and you don't destroy each other and set us back with some of what I perceive to be unnecessary back and forth about folk and individual. I just want to see you win. But either way, y'all make sure y'all hit the subscribe button because let me see how many subscribers did everybody subscribe tonight? Did you all subscribe to the channel? Have you taken the opportunity to subscribe, because we need to get ourselves up higher so I can really put this work in. You see what I mean? Now, you didn't give any money. If you don't have any money, that's fine. I ain't worried about that. Only if you learn something, I should earn something. But I need to make sure you all subscribe to this channel so that I can get to the 100,000 mark. You understand me? So if you have not taken the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, I want you to do that. Okay. I want you to make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Take the opportunity to, I'm gonna read the rest of these cash apps, but I need my folks to subscribe to the channel right now. Go ahead and do that right now if you haven't already. I'm trying to see where we at. Okay. Yeah, we getting up there. We got 9207. Y'all make sure we got almost 700-800. We had about 1,000 people in here tonight. Y'all subscribe to the channel. I'm watching y'all. I'm watching y'all, and I'm looking at my subscriptions. Hit the chat, subscribe. Do it now. Maybe come over there with my belt. Anyway, B Hunter, thank you for the super chat. We got 25 super chats. I'm gonna read all of them. That's great. That's what I'm talking about. That's great. Red Segment, I've seen African minds break from pressure. Yeah, man, this is you're not built for this. This is hard. But thank you so much. Rick Simmons, preach, my brother. Class in session. You students in the back, bring your seats to the front. Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. Flower galore. We worked hard so they can hardly work. Ooh, bars. Bars. That understanding is what they keep. That understanding is way that they keep losing political races. Yeah, man. Sylvester Hannah, I could never go to an African country and lecture them. No, that's out of place. We won't do that. That's not what we do. You know, we don't get in other people's business. Solomon M. Seaver, McSeaver. They talk about us, so we're gonna talk about they. Yeah, this is what I don't know why they got us started, Solomon. They did that. We are not the people to cap on, because we will cap back. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. And then leave them alone. That's even worse. The disrespect is simply being matched. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Sylvester Hannah. I don't understand why us asserting our own uniqueness is a problem. Everyone in the U.S. does it. Yeah, what's wrong with us doing that? Timor 3864, thank you so much. RS1, thank you for the $5. My man, let me see. Dre Hart said, I like grits, eggs, but he was tripping with that episode. Gerald 542, thank you so much. All right. And Snoop Dogg in the house. Okay, cool. Rob 10310. Yeah, this channel ain't gonna be monetized, man, because I got too many rap songs on it. Big shout out to Mr. Supreme 32. A token of appreciation. I definitely learned something. Man, you have learned the most out of everybody. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dedicate this show to Mr. Supreme 32. Mr. Supreme 32, Black Immigrant Identity Theft of Black American Success, is dedicated to you because you donated a whole 100, man. I appreciate you so much, man. They're gonna dedicate this show to you. I might do that every night. Whoever get the most, you can be the co-host. Yeah, bars. All right. Anyway, thank you so much, brother. Cultural Superpower, thank you for the $5 super sticker. We got 26 super chats. Maybe we get to 30 before I get to the finish, and then that'll be cool. But Urban Eagle, my man, Urban Eagle 3114, good looking out, brother. Appreciate you. And also official Zay Story, salute Uncle D. I'm FBA and disgusted at how these people at the Grammys disrespected my ancestors who were enslaved in Mississippi. I doubt we ever came on ships, but we're already here for centuries. Yeah, we got people who've been here a long time, man. And thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let me see here. Yaya's kids. Hey, baby, what's up? Thank you so much. I appreciate you, all you do. All praise to the Most High. Ain't that the truth? And that's another thing that's got us through. We believe in God. We love the Lord. We not only do believe, we live it. Red Sigmund, tell them ashy foreheads to back. I don't know why I got y'all started. Good looking out. Xena G72, thank you for the super sticker. All right, we got 26 super chats. Man, we did good, man. Maybe we'll get to, let's see if we can get to 30 before I finish. But look, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. I want to get you all out of here within this 4-hour time. But I can't be doing these epic broadcasts. All right, we are marching towards the 100,000 subscribers. But anyway, look here. Angry Africans are not angry because Black Americans are wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Now they act like that. You saw all those videos. They're angry because Black Americans are no longer claiming Africa. And what that translates to is the moment we stop claiming Africa, then Africans lost the ability to claim us. And that loss matters because Black Americans hold real influence in the United States, political influence and cultural influence and economic influence, not just in the US, everywhere. You understand? I want you to think about it. And without access to Black American identity, and that's what we talked about tonight. We talk about identity. We're not worried about them being Black. We're focused on them not trying to Black. We're working on Black immigrant identity theft of foundational Black Americans and our success. That's what we focus on. Y'all can be Black all you want to. Okay, you want to bond on some, yeah, that's our ancestral Black brother. Yeah, but you're not foundational Black America. It's identity. Because you carry weight with that. You see? But again, without that Black American identity, African immigrants get treated like immigrants do. And you see what the immigrants are doing? You see what they're getting? And see, that reality strips leverage. And when that leverage disappears, resentment follows. And that's why shaming tactics appear. That's all you hear. Shout out to the red pill. That's the first people that I've heard. The red pill people, you got to listen to the Manosphere old stuff from 15 years ago. These new dudes are just making money. Okay. Shout out to Dwight Robbins. But if you listen to that, it tells you a lot about human nature. These are shaming tactics to try to get you to stop doing what you're doing. They can't hit you. They can't tie you up. So they try to shame you back. But what they say don't matter to us because you're not in our group. We don't care what Africans think. Okay, a person has to like you. Fellas, ladies, let me explain something. Ladies, I want the ladies to start. If it's an ugly man that you don't like and he broke and he's short, do you care if he say something bad about you? Huh? No. Same thing with a brother. If it's a woman you don't want to have anything to do with, do you care what they say about you? No. In other words, in order for a person to shame you, you have to respect them or like them or want something from them. You understand? You can't shame people who don't care about you. And that's why I'm trying to explain to you all, okay, yeah, y'all call us a continent, but we don't care. Y'all say we don't have a homeland. Yeah, it's annoying, but we don't care. We in our homeland and you in our homeland telling us we don't have a homeland and you done left your homeland. You understand what I mean? So that's why the things that these Africans are saying, it doesn't work on us because we are so far removed from you all. What you say don't matter. You all are irrelevant. In other words, what I'm saying is they don't have any leverage over us with their shaming tactics. You understand? And that's probably annoying too. And so they'll probably kick it up a little bit. But whatever. We're not going anywhere. We make things hot. You understand? Us naming ourselves. This was never about unity. It was about control. They don't like that. That's why the naming, that's why the shaming popped up. Foundational Black Americans have an identity. Okay? Black Americans, we run the culture. The idea behind FBA existed long before it had a name. Matter of fact, I believe Dr. What's his name? What's the brother's name? Golly. Claude Anderson was the first one to come up with this term, foundation. I think he said it. And then Tariq Nasheed, of course, he's a big student of Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. He grew up in the 80s and 90s, same as me and other folk my age. I know who he's talking about. They've been saying the same thing, and I'm gonna do a broadcast on what our leaders said about these immigrants. But either way, the idea behind FBA existed long before it had a name. But once that term entered the language, it caught fire because it explained a reality that we all saw. And the concept was articulated, it was refined, and it was pushed into the mainstream. And now politicians, entertainers, commenters, media outlets have begun to pick it up openly. And once the language enters the culture, it cannot be erased. Some Black Americans resist FBA because they're uncomfortable with the conflict that goes with that. They want to go along, they want to get along. And others resist because they were trained to fear boundaries. But history is clear. Every group that survives, and this is about survivals, and this is our culture telling us it's time to change, and I hope y'all pick that up. Our culture is telling us we have to delineate from these people. And you are not going to resist the culture. The same culture that got us through that 400 years is saying we need to delineate from these people. You understand? Because the undefined people get defined by others. That era is over. So it's bigger than an individual. It's bigger than these individual people who are resisting it. That's why, as a student of the game and a student of culture, I just recognize it. I'm saying, that makes sense. I start using it in my documents, my legal documents, when I'm filing. But see, that immigrant mindset helps explain the tension. I want y'all to listen to this. See, many immigrant cultures operate on a communal model where the individual is expected to sacrifice for the group. And so on the surface, that sounds honorable. In practice, it creates a permanent vulnerability. When a group decides your fate, you're never safe. Your children aren't safe. Your future depends on obedience, not justice. That mindset is one of the reasons that slavery lasted for centuries in parts of the world, including Africa. Those kings, those chiefs, they spoke for everyone. Half the tribe could be sold while the rest survived. And that system does not protect people, it consumes them. That mindset fails in America. Y'all see where I'm going, right? This country is not built for communal sacrifice models. It rewards individual rights, legal protections, and hard boundaries. If you sacrifice yourself, or if your group sacrifices itself for the greater group, no one's coming to rescue you. If you sacrifice your children, no one shields them. Black Americans learned this lesson the hard way. Survival here required strategy, it required unity with limits. An absolute refusal to trade individuals for symbolic peace. The Black American mindset is different. We never had the numbers to sacrifice anybody. We're always surrounded by people who wanted to erase us. Our survival depended on staying together until everybody was safe. That's why race issues unite us faster than anything else. We could be warring with each other just when we was in the middle of a damn gender war and just broke off of that and said, no, we're going to deal with what's going on right now. Matter of fact, we're going to rest. We fight as a group, but we don't throw our own people away. And that mindset developed under constant pressure is why we're still here and why we succeed despite everything stacked against us. Foundational Black American culture works in this environment because it was built for this environment. It produces innovation, resilience, and excellence. It adapts, it protects its own. It understands the rules of this country in ways outsiders never will. And that's not arrogance. That's our lived experience. We're not African culturally. We're not African politically. And we're not African historically. And there's some real genetic, historical, and social differences, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. And see, the final truth is trying to steal Black American identity is going to fail. Trying to steal our culture will fail. Trying to steal our success is futile. Cultures that do not work in this environment cannot replace one that does. And that's why people fled their home countries and came here in the first place. You can live amongst us, you can respect us, you can work with us, but you can never be us. Foundational Black Americans know who we are, and now that line is permanent. And we are not going to sacrifice ourselves and our well-being by allowing you to assimilate into our culture and call yourself Black or Foundational Black American, knowing that the whole point is to replace us. And that's what you expect us to do because you come from that communal immigrant society. And that's why we delineated. I want to thank all you beautiful people for being here tonight for almost 4 hours. God bless you all. I hope you all have learned something. I would appreciate it if you've been involved in a car accident, you contact me at 713-229-0770. And if you would like to schedule a one-on-one conference with me to discuss business matters or whatever you may have, you can email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. Also, I want to just give a shout out to all the people who came through and spent this long time with me. And I hope y'all learned something. And people, please, please, please subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. We are marching towards $100,000. We're at 92,000. There's only 8,000 more people. We can get there. We can get there together. Shout out to everybody who came through. This is Uncle D. And as I always said this time, I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast, hit the like button, subscribe.